Hey!
This is JJ and Alex.
I made a name for myself. I told you I won't be denied.
As you wrap up your day, it's time to get your fix of the teams you live for and the sports you love. This is JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome on in. JJ and Alex, 97.5 EKSL Sports Zone. Thanks for being with us on the program. Alex, Kirry, Jeremiah, Jensen. We appreciate you dipping into the program. Our show brought to you by G2G Bars. Hey, JJ. Got a new refill of the mini fridge.
You know what? I'm going to take one down during the show.
Dip in, my guy.
I could use a meal replacement today.
Absolutely.
A little low on calories, so I got some room for it.
Let's get going. G2G Bars, all natural ingredients and no preservatives, make the G2G Bar the perfect protein bar. And yes, we've got the what flavor do we have in the studio here? It's
peanut butter chocolate chip?
Yeah, peanut butter chocolate chip, the best.
Oh, yeah.
That's my favorite, classic. And you can give it a shot today. Costco, Holiday Oil, Maverick, Associated Foods, and many other retailers in the refrigerated section. So there you go. Our producer Alex is back, baby. Hey, give him a hand. Hey. Hey now.
Mr. Soccer in there. Mr. Football.
I have returned.
Hey, you got a voice, though, too. I'm actually that disappointed.
How many games did you do? 6?
How much effort did you make if you have a voice today? I mean, really.
I don't know. I just woke up and it's still there. It was six games in 2 days, and so it was a stretch. I'm not sore from planting trees. I'm just sore from calling games.
He's making fun of you for being an old.
So apparently he heard that segment.
He actually brought in a replacement Tupperware for Christian, too. I thought that was a good
did.
I thought that was a good gesture.
Wow, that's very kind of you.
That was really nice. Yes, Alex is back, and he'll be promptly gone again tomorrow. So, in honor of all the
3 more games tomorrow, right?
Is it 3 tomorrow?
3 more
all
games.
Championship
Games,
right?
Games tomorrow, yes.
4, 5, and 6A?
That's right.
Is that what's
Yes.
going on?
Yes.
Are they all up at Rice Eccles, or where are they playing them?
These ones will be at America First Field at Rouse Lake
Rice
Stadium.
Eccles.
I just thought maybe I didn't know where the soccer ones were played. Come on. Don't they have... Isn't that a field?
It is a field, but there's...
What? You can't put...
There's a stadium in Sandy, you know?
There is a stadium in Sandy, you're right.
At the very least, you can play him at Zions Bank Stadium.
Hey, look at this. You guys ganging up over here on the guy who doesn't know where the state championships are played. Okay, I get it. Head out to Harriman, everybody. Oh, no, it's America First Field in Sandy then. Is that the big one?
Yeah, the big one.
I love it. Okay.
It's pretty cool for the high school kids to get a chance to play in the pro stadium.
Awesome. Let's kick the program off as we always do with the cut. Let's jump in, and we've got obviously some news that hit today that everyone's trying to figure out and everybody's trying to wrap their brains around, and we're just going to report that and make sure that we get you up to speed on it. Like I said, we're going to get going with the cut here, and let's jump in. That's how we start the show every day, so let's do it.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
And this portion of the show brought to you by Trajan Wealth, TRAJAN Wealth. Trajan Wealth for all of your trusted local needs in retirement. Hit them up online, TrajanWealth.com. If you have been online today and you've been seeing the reports, and that's what they are, we've been monitoring these reports all day. You can go over to KSLSports.com and read up Mitch Harper's report on this as well. Jake Retzlaff, BYU's quarterback, has been accused of sexual assault in a civil lawsuit that's just been filed in the 3rd District Court in Salt Lake County as of today. So the lawsuit, like I said, you can go check it out for yourself. Mitch's whole write-up here. The accusations don't look good at the very least, but apparently the accusations are of sexual assault. The victim, named as Jane Doe in the report, give some details as to what, according to her, were the accounts as to what had happened between she and Jake Retzlaff, and the accusations and the reports are right there, and it is a civil lawsuit. So BYU has not made a comment yet. BYU Athletics has not made a comment yet. And so we are still waiting to see what that is going to bring. At the very least, JJ, people start to wonder what this is going to look like. Civil suit, if that's going to turn into criminal charges as well, not sure. All we know right now is the civil lawsuit that has been filed in the 3rd District Court in Salt Lake County, and this certainly is going to be something that is going to take away from the positive things that have been happening with this athletic department. At the very least, reading some of these accusations and going through some of the reports is something that BYU is going to have to wade through themselves. And you and I both know, and we've covered this team and this athletic department and situations along these same lines for the last couple of decades. They're never an easy one for BYU to deal with, considering what the institution's goals are, and certainly the high-profile aspect of it also makes it a really hard one for BYU to be able to stomach as well. And for fans and for people who are watching, and at the very least for people who may know the victim or the alleged victim in this is one of those moments where you step back and go, okay, sports aren't the most important thing, but at the very least we are trying to figure out what these reports are going to be, and we'll bring all those to you as soon as we get as many of those details as we can. In the meantime, he's being accused of it in a civil lawsuit as filed here today in Salt Lake County. Never easy to even step through that minefield of even how to talk about it, JJ, because there are accusations, there are potential victims, there are potential, there's the accused and then there's the accuser, and that is always difficult to try to figure out what the truth and what is not true. And one side saying this happened, the other side saying that it did not. We haven't gotten any of the Jake Retzlaff version of what things may or may not have happened. And so this is very hard to get through if you're BYU, because you've got to, on top of all the things you're doing, deal with this, which is never fun for that institution.
Yeah, not the news that anybody wants to hear. The suit has been filed. As Alex mentioned, you can go to KSLSports.com. Mitch Harper has all the details. He had a copy of the lawsuit. And we're not going to read the details here over the air, but you can go read the details. They are disturbing. And it's something that you're obviously taking very, very serious. And there's some disappointing information here about the way it was handled. It's just not good. Not good at all. My first thought is for the woman, the victim in this. That's the first thing. So I know a lot of people now, BYU fans, are wondering, what does this mean? What does this mean for the team? What's the future? Obviously, that's not the most important thing right now, but that is a legitimate thing to ask, and that's got to have to be up to BYU to decide how they're going to proceed and handle that. We have not received any information from BYU. BYU has not released any comment.
Yeah, typically they got to figure out exactly what's going on.
I'm sure, and I understand that. I'm sure they're trying to. They just probably found out about this today when we did. I hope that's not the case, but that's also possible. We don't know.
Sure.
But the bottom line is BYU has not responded to our requests for comment. I'm sure they're trying to figure out how they're going to process this. Just as we are right now, we're processing this information, and this is not some kind of thing that happened in a game or some kind of, game reacting to some kind of poll or something where we sit here on Sports Talk Radio and share our opinions. That's not what this is. It's a pretty serious allegation, serious charges, and this is the quarterback at BYU. And it's never good anywhere it happens, but especially at BYU, obviously, for obvious reasons. So just not the news you wanted to hear today, and it's disappointing. To say the least. This is obviously going to have some kind of impact in the future. We just don't know, and we're not comfortable speculating on what that means for BYU's football season at this time.
Well, and there are accusations. So you have the accusations that are and the allegations that are there, and that's all they are for us right now, because that's the only thing we can take them as. And so you can go check out that story for yourself. KSLSports.com. Read that byline there, and yeah. So, I mean, that's the only thing we have. Really, I wish we could. I wish we had more information, but that's just not how.
Yeah, we will wait for BYU to comment or any action that BYU takes. As soon as that happens, we will share it with you. As soon as we have some concrete statements or decisions that BYU's made about how they're going to proceed moving forward with this, we will share that with you. We will debate that. We will break that down. But as for right now, you can go to KSLSports.com and read the details of this lawsuit as BYU quarterback Jake Retzlaff is accused of sexual assault in a civil lawsuit that has been filed in the 3rd District Court in Salt Lake County, and that took place earlier today. Yeah,
it's going to be interesting to see how this thing gets gets worked out and handled. So we'll bring you all those details. That's what our job is, right?
Yep.
As soon as we find out a little bit more about that, we'll bring that to you as soon as we can. In the meantime, JJ, let's jump in a little bit. I was massively disappointed last night watching this Western Conference Finals Game 1.
That wasn't fun, unless you're a Thunder fan.
Mostly it was because I was anticipating. You and I both talked about it. Oh, that's going to be a fun series. I guess we assumed that there would be an impact that Rudy Gobert would have had in this game. I'm not trying to just go at Rudy individually, but here we go. If you are having to lean on DiVincenzo to shoot 12 threes and miss most of them, if you are relying on however many minutes that Rudy got, what was his stat line, by the way? It was like 3 points, 3 points,
you
2
gave him
rebounds.
too much credit. 2 points.
Oh, boy.
3 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 block.
Don't forget about the block. But in 21 minutes of
1
play,
turnover, 2 fouls.
I mean, he only played 21 minutes.
Yeah.
Now, is that because he was playing so poorly? Is that because the Thunder go, oh, we know how to attack this thing. We know how to go at this.
This could be matchups, right? Maybe Naz Reid's a better matchup. Maybe they want to space the floor a little bit better. Maybe they want more shooters on the floor. I don't know, because the Thunder are different than what they just faced with the Warriors, right? You're facing a different kind of team that plays at a different kind of tempo with a different kind of depth. And, the criticisms of Rudy are obvious, and we've seen them in the past when he was a member of the Utah Jazz, that he gets played off the floor in the playoffs. I think that's grossly overplayed, but at the same time, I think there's some matchups that can be tough for him. And this Thunder matchup might be tough. Or this was just game 1 in Oklahoma City. Keep in mind that the Minnesota Timberwolves had the lead at halftime, 48-44. They got outscored 70-40 in the second half. And Oklahoma City got hot. Oklahoma City got the offense going and just absolutely pummeled the Timberwolves in the second half. I don't know if – I think we're going to see better from Rudy moving forward. You're right, that's disappointing, and it needs to be called out because they need to get more out of their starters. By the way, Mike Conley only had 7 points, 2 of 8 shooting, 1 of 5 from 3.
Oh, Mike Conley is not – we shouldn't even be talking about Mike Conley anyway. If you're a Minnesota Timberwolves fan, Mike Conley's not going to get it done for you. Right? I mean,
no, for
Anthony
sure.
Edwards, this has got to be his freaking team, right?
Ant-Man only had 18, 5 of 13. 13 shots for Anthony Edwards?
No. I mean, like I said, DiVincenzo
Julius Randle had 28 points. Julius Randle was awesome.
Showed up.
Well, in the first half.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I'll tell you, it was close, and I'll tell you when the turnaround happened because I'm watching this game. It was mid-third quarter, and it was that 10-0 run when they were down 56-60, they go on a 10-0 run, and the game was over. It was so weird because you didn't have Rudy on the floor at all. They just weren't even putting him in. Chris Finch wasn't even putting him in the game at that point. And so I don't know. I get it. Every game's going to be different, and you can't just totally sell out on one game and go, this is how this thing's going to go. It's going to be a sweep, because you could see Minnesota figure this thing out. But the thing that's really, really hard to understand is, if Anthony Edwards gets shut down, which, by the way, I think that the Thunder, because the Thunder they were at least a top 3 defense in the league, if not.
Yeah, they're very good defensively, for sure.
This is why being an absolute juggernaut on the offensive side of things, and they have now what is being reported is, you've seen the reports leaking out that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is going to be your MVP of the NBA. Not a shock there. We were anticipating that information would come out during this series, or maybe at the end of the series. It's always tough because sources are leaking it, and the league hasn't announced it yet. It's the only one that we leak the information on before it comes out. So if Shai is indeed the MVP, which everybody's reporting, this is a guy who is automatic offense. And I know that everybody was complaining. There were a lot of shows today across the board nationally. I listened to one of the shows there in Minnesota who was just going off about how this insane whistle that SGA is getting.
It's true. He's grifting hard for fouls.
He knows. Look,
he's going full James Harden.
You can't be an MVP in this league without knowing a little bit about how to play that game, right?
He's figured it out.
And he was taking contact and turning it into insane. And you know what? It was like mid game too. Doris Burke is like, ridiculous. How did he put that shot in? And then I don't know who the third commentator was sitting next to Doris Burke on there, and he goes, yeah, some of that is actually just being able to know how to take a hit and make it into a foul. And I was like, wow, that was very diplomatic of the television broadcast to basically point out it was probably Van Gundy or something like that. But
Richard Jefferson. Van Gundy got fired.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, they let him go.
All of them?
So it's Mike Breen, Doris Burke, Richard Jefferson.
So Richard Jefferson,
former Utah Jazz man,
Richard Jefferson,
who needs to have his jersey retired for the popcorn prank he played on Rudy Gobert.
Listen. I will say, I mean, when he said it, he goes, and that's coming from a guy obviously who's seen a lot of really, really high quality basketball, and he also knows how this game works.
Yeah.
I mean, that's hard. I'm not going to complain that SGA is getting this crazy whistle, and that's why they won the game last night. They won this game last night because they are tougher than the Thunder right now. And have we heard this tune before, JJ, that somebody accuses a team that Rudy Gobert is on of not being tough enough? He does not. He's still is not strong enough to put the ball up and to go to the rim. And if you can't score and you're on the floor and yeah, great, you can get the ball if you're close to the rim and he doesn't have to put it anywhere near below his waist. He's going to go up for that dunk and he's going to get it. But this team knows how to defend this guy. They've watched the tape. They know that he's good from a great night for Rudy Gobert is 18 points. Like an amazing night for Rudy Gobert is 18 points.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so if they can make sure that Anthony Edwards is being held to under 20 points a game, and yeah, if Julius Randle's going to be your high scorer, this series is over, man. And now you're looking at it and you're going, who's going to beat the Thunder? Because there's nobody in that Eastern Conference. Nobody in that Eastern Conference.
The NBA championship is being played right now in the Eastern Conference Finals. I feel strongly about that.
Anyway.
And yeah. Free throw merchant, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
How many?
It's funny how everybody thinks, the Thunder are fun, and now when they start winning it, now all of a sudden it's like,
hey,
he's a free throw merchant.
You're not.
He's grifting.
Oh, listen, you're not a true MVP until you do this. Until you're being accused
He's arrived.
of this.
He's officially arrived. Like people hate him now.
You are a superstar.
You are now the MVP because people can't stand you.
You are officially a superstar because everyone thinks that you're a flopper.
Yep.
And you know what? If you can add 25% or 30% more to that point total every night by being a little bit more judicious in how to take a foul, I'll put it that way. I won't say the word flop necessarily because there are just moments where he turns contact that can be interpreted as being aggressive as just being a full-on foul. Did you see that and one that he had when he was like on his knee basically putting the ball up? It definitely looked like he was in an Oliver Stone movie, right? Where it's just like the amount of flailing that happens is pretty crazy. However, Anthony Edwards, if you are a superstar, which we gave you all the credit yesterday, and we're ready to crown you a superstar and one of the best players in this league, but if you're going to get that type of a title put next to you of Anthony Edwards, future superstar, or Anthony Edwards, current superstar in the NBA, then you got to go blow for blow with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I'm not saying you have to be better than the MVP. What I am saying is, why not take the fact that this guy's the MVP and then have him and then just match his energy, match his ability. And it's hard because if you start to lean on Anthony Edwards' shooting from the three-point line, that's a hard thing to do too. You don't want to have that be part of his game. Let's get aggressive though, and let's go to the friggin' hoop, which is what they lacked last night. So do you think that SGA winning the MVP is good for the league, or do you think that that's something where they missed it because it should have been Jokic?
No, I'm fine with it. Look, if it was different circumstances and it was just Jokic fatigue and the guy who won it was clearly not at the same level this year, I would be a little bit more questioning of it. But you look at what the Thunder did this year, the leap they took to get to 68 wins. 68, right?
Was it 68? 60.
Yes.
Oh, it was. Yeah.
Wins.
64 was the Cavs. Yeah.
68-14
wow.
were the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Oof.
And you look at their roster. It's young. That's a young group. So who led that group to 68 wins? Who's led that group to a 1-0 lead in the Western Conference Finals? It's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. His numbers are there. Now, you can make your Jokic case. I totally get it. It's a close call. We talked about it on the show. I've gone back and forth on it. I would just give the nod to Shai because the Thunder were that much better than the Nuggets this year. And soon the argument would be, well, Jokic, where would the Nuggets be without Jokic? Yeah, well, where would Oklahoma City be without Shai? You know, every point counterpoint with that you can go back and forth on that because they're both very valuable to their teams. But ultimately, you look at that record, 68-14. It's a regular season award. To see where the Thunder are at and what they've done this year, I think I have no problem with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander winning the MVP is definitely worthy.
I do wonder if there is a moment where people look and they go, all right, the NBA can't have another refereeing or officiating, coup. You know what I mean? Like, that's the last thing you want is for this series to turn into that. And I hope it doesn't.
People are always going to, I won't say the B word, whine about the refs. That's what they're going to do. Okay? We've done it. How many here people in Utah curse Dick Bavetta? Right? It's part of the basketball. It's part of the NBA. So what the problem I think we've seen with this playoffs is they're allowing a lot of physical play. A lot. And I don't like it. I want to see the game more free-flowing. I don't mind if they call it a little bit tighter to get rid of some of that physical stuff, but it's not like it was in the regular season, and I think it has impacted the playoffs in a negative way.
It's always tough. It's always the worst when the officiating becomes part of it. All right, we will take a break. When we come back, we've got more to go. We have some hot seat items to talk about with the NFL. In fact, when it comes down to it, there are coaches that could be on the hot seat that, frankly, it would be a wild situation if these teams were to fire this coach. And however, if you're not getting it done, the NBA or the NFL is a not-for-long league, not just for the players, but also for coaches. Even if your ownership loves you, some cases, who are the people who are going to be asked to move on? We'll come back. We'll talk about that. Plus, we've got our own little rosters we can make up of Team USA's Olympic hopes in the flag football category. Stay with us, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Ladies and gentlemen, the biggest name.
You're locked into JJ and Alex. With the insight and analysis on the teams you can't live without. Presented by G2G Bars. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Alex, Kirry, Jeremiah, Jensen. Hey, 2025, just a couple things I wanted to bring up. I love what you've done with the place. But there's some changes I still want to have made. Some of the things I don't like in terms of the remodel you've done with this world, 2025. I hate that because I came from field day. My kids had field day. I asked you this. I don't know if I even had it off the air conversation with you. But it's been an informal poll that I've been kind of holding over the past little while. I don't know when it happened. But field day is no longer there are no longer any athletic competitions other than like throwing some water balloons at each other, I guess. And even then, I feel like we're kind of good. We're getting to the point now where we're like, did you just throw a water balloon at my son? You know, like that. Like, okay, so when I was a kid, we got together with other elementary schools. We went to the high school track and field in the middle of like the stadium. This is in Texas, and so I thought maybe this was different. And we had 50-yard dashes, 100-yard dashes. We had a what's it called? The tug of war with the real rope. Uh-huh. All right. We had dodgeball.
Kickball tournaments.
Kickball freaking tournament, okay? We played against the teachers, too. Whoever won, you play against the teachers. And we had all sorts of things. We had ribbons that we gave out. And now zero of that is going on at my kid's school. Hasn't happened ever. You did this?
Yeah.
You had competitions?
Oh, yeah.
I asked my wife, and she goes, oh, yeah, we got together at the high school track down in Spanish Fork. And other elementary schools, we got together. And I said, yes, thank you. And she's not that much younger than I am. I mean, she's way younger than I am. Sorry, what was I saying? She's
nice save.
She is so young.
Mother's Day was last week.
I'm sorry. Okay.
You're good.
Honey, gosh, darn it. You still look like the same day that I married you. Alex, you're our producer, and you're kind of the guy we dip into. Did you have field day as a child?
We did, but it was very different from what you're describing right now.
We had already turned over to whatever it is that your generation is now continuing on and ruining from the time forward. Anybody else out there who had a real field day? What did you have at field day?
They would invite other schools to our school, but they would just turn on the sprinklers, and they would just make us run through the sprinklers while we tasted the penny coppered flavored water.
Hey!
You need Culligan SLC.
You got to get Culligan filters on that thing.
They need Culligan.
I told you.
You have no idea what you drank when you were a kid.
There's a little hill behind
Probably
my kid.
lead and paint chips in that water.
there's some asbestos between your toes. No, but they have a hill behind the school that they would put these massive vinyl signs on. This guy would donate local at the elementary school, and they would have this massive slip and slide that was, on those big vinyl signs, you throw some soap on that thing, you get the water going on there.
Yeah.
Your kids are flying down that hill. It was awesome. And my kids informed me this year that they've canceled that.
What?
It's now over with. No more slip and slide.
No slip and slide?
You're going, I guess it's turned into.
Did somebody die on a slip and slide? What happened?
I guess it's turned into, what elementary school did you go to, Alex, over there? Sprinklers is now infiltrating everything. No more anything. No more fun. Field day sucks in 2025. And then at that point, then you go, well, then what's the point? Why are we going to school at all? Somebody got hurt. I know somebody, I don't know. I'll sign a waiver for my kid to be able to participate in stuff. Come on.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was just my, let me get it off my chest moment where I was like, my kids are growing up in a place that's not very much fun.
Everything has been ruined. Everything is ruined.
It all started at Cypress Elementary School back in the late 2010s. I can't remember. I'm trying to figure out. No, our producer Alex is not
2007? Question mark?
2000,
I don't even remember what year it was.
2014, 15. No. You're not.
The water
that
here smells like mining.
I can smell the water from over here. Did they turn the water on at the elementary school? I can smell it. All right. Sorry to get grumpy about it. I don't want to go full Jake Scott on anybody and be pissed about the world here, but I just thought that field day was so much dang fun when I was a kid.
It was.
Come on.
And things are not what they used to be, and that's sad. Rest in peace, field day.
R.I.P. real field day.
Rest in peace any competition for kids, because everyone's trying to ruin all those.
Sorry to do that to you. All right. I did want to bring up that there is a list of hot seat coaches in the NFL. There always is. If you're in the NFL and you're the head coach, you are in the hot seat, I think, pretty much every year. But here are the ones that are actually the ones that you should be very, very nervous about. He's only had one season there with the Tennessee Titans. This Brian Callahan, 3-14 last year. Now, he inherited some crap, right?
Yeah.
There's a reason that you're bad. But at some point, the buck stops with you as a head coach, and if things haven't turned around, this is that type of a record from last year, 3-14. And then you get the number 1 overall pick with Cam Ward. If they are 1-9, he will be fired in week 11. Am I wrong? That's the kind of thing that happens.
It's on the table, I'm sure.
It depends on the ownership, but again, that's the kind of thing that would happen. And if you are Cam Ward and you're at this place,
and they're not in a great division either.
No, it's the worst division.
I would agree with that.
It's the worst division. So I think that people look around. Speaking of bad divisions, it's another team in the same bad division. Shane Steichen in the Indianapolis Colts. I don't know what to think of this because Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones may be the worst quarterback room in the entire league. I don't know which one is even.
The Steelers might be worse.
Oh yeah,
because
we'll
they don't have.
Oh yeah, because they don't have the guy. Yeah. Now Brian Daboll had arguably the best offseason of any coach who was in hot water. Am I wrong? I think
they had a good draft.
They didn't just have a good draft. I think people saw a video of Brian Daboll, of him busting his butt to try to find the best guy. I think that there are people in the league and in that front office that feel like a year after they gave up Saquon Barkley, they had a coup and got themselves the type of a draft that they did, finding the possibility of a really, really good franchise quarterback on top of the fact that they have Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson in the quarterback room to teach Jackson Dart how to be a pro. Which, say what you will about Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston, those guys have a combined career that is actually quite impressive. Not just combined. Russell Wilson's a multi-Pro Bowl quarterback with a Super Bowl under his belt and a lot of winning. Jameis Winston has thrown for a lot of yards. So, great. Now, this one's interesting. Zach Taylor, is he on the hot seat in Cincinnati?
100% is, yes.
He actually might be in the worst spot of any of the people on this list because of the recent success. We can still remember, if we just go back a little bit to that Super Bowl in L.A. when they lost to the Rams and Zach Taylor and his guys, but they were going to be back. But they haven't been back. And in fact, it's not just that. They haven't even been close. And they've got a little bit of a mess in the locker room going on right now. But they do have a lot of talent, including probably the best young quarterback in the entire league. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins at wide receiver. By the way, that room of super talented guys actually makes it worse for Zach Taylor if he does not perform. He's had 6 seasons, and he is below 500 by 6 games overall in his career, JJ.
Yeah, I mean, he's been to a Super Bowl. He's been to 2 conference championship games, but there's been plenty of good coaches. Like Doug Peterson down at Jacksonville got fired with the Philadelphia Eagles after he won a Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. Like, there's a number of coaches who have lost jobs after winning Super Bowls, not just getting there. So it's about what you've done lately, and they've missed the playoffs each of the last 2 years. They're 4-7 in September over the past 3 seasons. So slow starts have been a problem. They have a Super Bowl roster. They have guys that have been to the Super Bowl with Joe Burrow and others. They signed Jamar Chase and T. Higgins to big deals. They're spending a lot of money in Cincinnati, which they always haven't been willing to do. So there's a lot of pressure on that team to win and win big this year. It's not just getting to the playoffs. It's advancing in the playoffs because they've done it before.
Finally, Mike Tomlin of the Pittsburgh Steelers. That is an insane thing to have him on the list.
And I don't buy this at all. I don't.
Oh, you are. You know what this is? This is, you're too close to the situation. You're too close of friends with Sly. Mike Tomlin knows better than anybody that if you're not performing, you should be gone. And right now, they're not performing. And I'm not saying that the 18 years that he's done.
Haven't performed. They made the playoffs.
Oh, my gosh. And I know that the Steelers
Who was their quarterback last year?
Oh, boy, was it?
Let's ride.
Oh, it was. That's right. It was Russ. Hey, but they got Mason Rudolph back. They got him back. They were hoping to get him back, and they got him back.
Are they going to get Aaron Rodgers? And does Aaron Rodgers have anything left in the tank? Is Aaron Rodgers somebody that will help them, or has he become a distraction for that franchise? Because he was a distraction in New York.
Could you imagine Aaron Rodgers saving Mike Tomlin's career?
Oh, my gosh.
What a freaking weird
gosh.
prospect.
That would be crazy. I know they haven't not won a playoff game since 2016. I don't know if that's something that a lot of people are aware of. They have a 6-game losing streak in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So that is an issue. Since Tomlin took the Steelers to the Super Bowl the last time, the Steelers are 3-9 in the playoffs. I get that, but man, he's got a great resume. The Steelers are all about consistency. I can't see them firing him unless things got really, really bad. But the funny thing is the Steelers probably need things to get bad, meaning that they need a redo. They need to get better younger players on their roster. They need a franchise quarterback. There's things that they need that they're missing. Unfortunately, they've got a guy like T.J. Watt who's in the prime of his future Hall of Fame career. Mm-hmm. They have guys that are really, really good that are guys that should be competing for Super Bowls. So there's that pressure. I get that. And he's never finished under 500 in 18 years.
Wow.
How do you fire a guy that's been that consistently good? It can't be the coach, right? It can't be the coach. I think they have a personnel issue. I don't think they got the guys in skill positions they needed. They just traded one of the best receivers because he wasn't getting with the program. So I don't buy it. I think he should be number 5 on this list if he's even on the list at all. I think that Zach Taylor's the number one on the hot seat because of the amount of talent he has, the expectations they have versus what actually might happen.
How long was Chuck Noll the head coach of the of the Steelers?
Forever, since 1969 until 89 or 90.
Let me look here. Oh yes, head coach of the Steelers, 69 to 91.
There you go.
And then you had Tomlin, or not Tomlin. Then you had
3 coaches
right.
ever.
And then you have Bill Cowher show up 1992 all the way up to 18 years ago when Mike Tomlin was
right.
So you have
3 coaches since 1969.
That's why it's hard to imagine the idea of. And by the way, if you think Mike Tomlin hasn't figured it out, and just to put it in perspective, do you know how many wins and losses in his career that Mike Tomlin has over those 18 seasons? He's 180 what? He's won
183.
183 games. Chuck Noll won 193 games as the head coach. That's how long.
Mike Tomlin has won 63% of his games as a head coach in 18 seasons.
Chuck Noll won 56% of his games in his career.
Andy Reid got fired in Philly. He's a top 5 all-time head coach in my opinion. He's got the resume now to back it up.
For sure.
Anybody can be fired, even Mike Tomlin, but I just don't see it.
Yeah. All right. I do have a list here of some possible 2028 Olympic roster hopefuls. Now, part of what goes into this is age, right? Have people lost their minds? Because I'm going to give you Olympic roster proposed for 2028 per the folks at CBS Sports. Okay? Jaden Daniels at quarterback. Don't hate it at all. Okay, great. Jahmyr Gibbs, you're a running back wide receiver hybrid. Now, they have Jaden Daniels at quarterback running back because I think that, obviously every player is kind of a hybrid person in this situation. Devon Achane for the Dolphins will be 26 years old. They have him at running back and wide out. Fine. Of all the Dolphins guys, by the way, I don't know if Devon Achane would have been the guy I would have put on there.
He's super fast, though.
I get it. You got to be blazing fast. But even Tyreek Hill at 34 years old, which is what he'll be in 2028, I still put Tyreek on this list, right? He's not on the list. Justin Jefferson, who said he wanted to do it, did the Olympic gritty, right?
Yep.
He'll be 28 years old. Jamar Chase, Travis Hunter. Oh, now that's fun, right?
Those are your 3 wide receivers / DBs. That is a lot of fun.
That is phenomenal. Now, here's your defense. Insane speed off of the edge. Micah Parsons, of course. Nolan Smith Jr. from the Eagles, same thing. And then you've got Derek Stingley for the Texans, who's one of your defensive backs. And then Maxwell Harrison, also one of your fast, speedy defensive backs. Also considered Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy, is he a...
Lamar Jackson, I think, would be a star.
Lamar would be, but again, he's probably approaching a little bit of the older age range in 28, right?
Still faster than just about any quarterback.
Caleb Williams was also on the list of possibles. Bijan Robinson, that wouldn't be a bad move. Ashton Jeanty, even though he's a rookie, I think people look at him and go, yeah, okay, there you go. Bucky Irving, DK Metcalf. Oh, you know what? DK Metcalf. Let him play defense, too.
Yeah.
Make him an edge rusher. He and Micah Parsons are basically the same exact body type, right? The biggest dudes on the planet. They're just super fast.
Yeah, it's not tackle football, so just get somebody who's super fast and athletic.
Big. Abdul Carter, possible. We're just going to see how that works out with him. James Pierce Jr., and then, Patrick Surtain Jr., or Patrick Surtain II. That's your guy, right?
Puka Nacua was on the list of
Puka was on potential guys. Puka might be a little bit too big at a wideout spot, though, right?
He's got a tight end body.
Yeah.
But wide receiver skills, so I don't know. I think he'd be pretty darn good in flag football.
Best quote of the day, Alex, you got to maybe pull that. He's got a tight end body. Yeah, he does.
I'm going to regret saying that.
Settle down, JJ. Jeez. He's got that tight end body.
Can't wait to find out how you guys use that one against me.
All right. We're going to come back. We have a Would You Rather right around the corner. Stay with us. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Listen, everybody. Real-life hypotheticals to get your brain churning. As JJ and Alex ask, would you rather?
Welcome back, everybody. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Happy Wednesday, too. It's Win Ticket Wednesday. That means at some point during the program today, we will be throwing out some some phone numbers for you to be able to win something. Okay? So don't worry. We've got it on the books. It's going to happen. Oh, this is the Judas Priest Alice Cooper Day. I've been looking forward to this.
Breaking the law.
So I have a son named Cooper, and when we go play golf together, a lot of times people are like, you get paired with just whatever weirdos they have at the golf course. I mean, nice weirdos, but listen, they're
What kind of golf course you going to where there's weirdos?
JJ, it's a crapshoot. I'm telling you, and if golfers out there know too. You've been paired with some people, right? And maybe we were the people one day. But anytime I say it's Alex and Cooper, they go, "Oh, Alice Cooper, huh?"
Alex Cooper.
I'm like, come on.
Yeah,
get out of here.
Nice. Close.
That's how I remember, because you're Alice and he's Cooper.
Oh, boy.
I'm not Alice, but okay. Thank you. Appreciate it. Let me see.
Some guy thought your name was Alice.
No, that's how I'm going to remember. You're going to be Alice for the day. Okay? Right.
That really happened?
You playing from the Reds? Okay, cool, buddy. Appreciate it. Let me see here.
You've been saving that one up for a minute.
I'm telling you, the stuff I've run into.
You got your revenge on that guy.
Most of the time, people are you're paired with nice people. Then there are other times that it's not so fun, all right? Let me see here. JJ, would you rather? Now, I don't know why this popped into my head, but I thought, you know what? I saw, and I don't think this is in the same category, but celebrities show up, and if you're a celebrity and you're dating an athlete or an athlete that has become a celebrity and they're dating another celebrity or whatever, I thought, man, there's been some good athlete and celebrity power couples over the years. So, JJ, I'm going to have you determine the best celebrity athlete and or athlete/celebrity combo. I guess couples, power couples.
Sounds good.
Because and this is all in honor of the soon-to-be Mrs. Belichick, who apparently they're engaged, right?
How can
Bill
you top
Belichick,
that power couple?
Bill Belichick and Jordan Hudson. Gosh, just they're gonna have a great long life together. Sorry, but let me roll out some of them because I thought about it and I was like, no, there's got to be better ones than that. So I put together a list. JJ, Jordan Hudson and Bill Belichick, or Ciara and Russell Wilson?
Russell Wilson and Ciara have more bathrooms, so I'm going with Russell Wilson.
Oh, my goodness. Ciara and Russell Wilson, or Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade?
Ooh, no.
Power couple right there.
You can't beat that.
No, you cannot.
Dwayne Wade,
you might be able to beat it.
part owner of an NBA franchise. He has his own TV show.
I know, right?
And Gabrielle Union is
I agree.
I know Ciara had some hit songs.
Did she? Because I actually don't know.
So, question mark?
Had some hit songs,
I'm going with
maybe?
Dwayne and Gabby.
All right.
Can I call her? I don't think I'm allowed to call her
you can
Gabby.
say Gabby.
The Great Miss Union.
Mrs. Dwayne Wade Union.
I don't know how to address her.
Me neither. Sorry.
She's very, very talented.
Sorry, Sister Union.
Yes.
Gabby Union, Dwayne Wade, or Noma Garcia Parra and Mia Hamm. Now that's a double athlete couple there. Noma and Mia. Okay. Nomar Garcia Parra, Mia Hamm, or Mandy Moore and Andy Roddick.
Mandy Moore and Andy Roddick?
That was a couple at one point.
I guess I went Nomar.
Okay.
Nomar and Mia, so I guess I got to stick with them.
Okay. Nomar and Mia, or David Beckham and Victoria Beckham.
Bend like Beckham, David Beckham.
Amazing.
More, yeah. She's a Spice Girl. He's the greatest soccer player.
David Beckham
in his own mind.
And Victoria Beckham, or Kate Upton and Justin Verlander.
Oh,
it's a tough one.
Oh, I'm going with Verlander and Kate Upton.
Yeah. Woo! Upton and Verlander, or Jennifer Lopez and A-Rod.
Gross. That never happened. I'm sticking with Kate Upton and Verlander.
All right. Kate Upton and Verlander, or Lindsey Vonn and Tiger Woods?
Oh, that was a flash in the pan. I'm sticking with the other one.
Kate Upton and Justin Verlander.
Lindsey Vonn, Tiger Woods just kind of makes you go, ew. I don't know why.
Don't worry, because I got another one for you. Kate Upton and Justin Verlander, or Lindsey Vonn and PK Subban? Lindsey Vonn finds herself on the list multiple
Kate
times.
Upton, a little bit better. I mean,
right.
did you do Tiger Woods and the Denny's waitress? Why is that not an option?
First of all, how dare you? Second of all, it's not Denny's.
Wasn't there like several other women that could have been?
Perkins was it was not
Perkins,
Denny's.
It was a
Perkins.
Yeah. My bad.
Get your chain pie
we
and
live in
breakfast
Utah.
restaurants.
Do we have a Perkins here?
We used to out by the airport. Not that I know. As a former fat guy, I couldn't tell you.
When you need pancakes at 2 a.m. They have pie too.
All right. So we're on Kate Upton and Justin.
Cakes and pies.
I know. Kate Upton, Justin Verlander, or Jay Cutler, Kristen Calavari. That's a power reality couple right there.
They're also not together anymore, so I'm going to go with the couple that's still together.
All right. Upton and Verlander, or Giselle and Tom Brady. Now, they're not together either, but I'm talking about
that ended badly.
A power couple. Come on.
Yeah, but they're not together anymore, so I'm still going to stick with the other one.
You're standing up for
Giselle married some yoga instructor or something, right?
Oh, yeah. And
or had a baby with them. I don't know if they're married.
Yeah.
Am I saying things that aren't true on the radio? Jiu-jitsu, that's right.
You got Denny's wrong, and you got yoga wrong. All right,
I'm having a rough day.
Kate Upton, Justin Verlander, or Joe DiMaggio and Marilyn Monroe?
How did that ugly guy pull that?
It's Joe freaking DiMaggio, dude. How dare you? How dare you?
I'm sticking with you.
Okay. Upton and Verlander, or Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce?
Oh, all the Swifties out there. So I guess you got to go Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift, even though it's probably fake. No Jonathan Owens, Simone Biles. That'd be my number one.
All right, fine. Okay, we're taking the break here. We'll come back. Next hour, at the end of the hour, we've got our top 10. That's going to be a fun one. I've got a top 10 for you that is MVP related with the NBA. So stay right here. More to go right around the corner. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Your home for the best coverage of the Jazz, Utes, and Cougars is right here on The Zone. This is JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome back. It is JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Alex, Kirry, Jeremiah, Jensen. Thanks for being with us on the program, everybody. Our program is always brought to you by G2G Bars, all natural ingredients and no preservatives make the G2G Bar the perfect protein bar. Give it a shot today. Costco, Holiday Oil, Maverick, Associated Foods, and many other retailers in the refrigerated section. Let's kick off the hour this hour with the cut. We've got some NHL to talk about. How about the Eastern Conference and Western Conference Finals firing up in the NHL and the NBA? It's a good time to be a sports fan, and frankly, we're dipping into this NHL situation so much more nowadays. Steve Whyno joins us on the program. Let's get to the cut right now.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
And, of course, this portion of the show brought to you by Doug Smith and the Doug Smith family of dealerships, Chevy, Dodge, Ram, Jeep, Kia, Subaru, and now Mitsubishi in American Fork, Spanish Fork, and in Linden. Stephen Whyno, he covers the NHL for the Associated Press. Stephen, we were supposed to be having some great games here in the NHL. I've just seen blowout after blowout in the last few games. I don't know what the deal is, but last night it continues. Game one, this Carolina Hurricanes team that everybody said, hey, they could slow down amazing fast-paced play. Instead, they're at home, and it was 5-1 at one point, and the Panthers showed why they are the reigning Stanley Cup champs.
Yeah, and look, you would have asked me a few days ago, you would have had the right direction, which I don't think the Carolina Hurricanes have any chance of winning this series. Which also just shows you, as good as Carolina has been this season in the playoffs, just how much of a monster the Florida Panthers are. And we've seen this over the past three playoff runs. I know you guys are new to sort of the focus of it this spring, but this is a team that won the Stanley Cup last year, went to the final the year before that, and basically were broken by the final with Matthew Tkachuk playing with a broken sternum. Aaron Ekblad had a broken foot. There's just a lot of stuff going on that these guys are just such a time-tested killing machine in the playoffs. They're just so good. And yeah, maybe Carolina wins a game or two in this series, but it's hard to see, for me, anybody beating the Florida Panthers. And you guys, we all saw it last night in game one with the goaltending, the opportunistic scoring, the physicality, everything that teams need to have to win this time of year. The Florida Panthers have it all.
And I look back at the trade deadline, and I think it was significant when Brad Marchand and Seth Jones, signed with them.
Yep.
That maybe they've at the time felt a little underrated. I know Marchand's a bigger name, but those are pretty significant signings. I don't know if they win that Game 7 without those two guys' contributions. It just shows that the Panthers made some pretty smart moves at the deadline.
Yeah, and for Bill Zito at the trade deadline to sort of know going into that Aaron Ekblad was going to get suspended and sort of needing to fill in a hole there, and that Matthew Tkachuk wasn't going to play until the playoffs, and they could use sort of his salary cap space to get a Brad Marchand, to get a Seth Jones, even Nico Sturm, who's been in and out of the fourth line. Just the perfect right ingredients for that. And you make a good point. Seth Jones and Brad Marchand were probably the best players the Panthers had in that Game 7 against the Maple Leafs, and which is another one of the sort of things, the trends we've seen with this team in these playoffs is even when Matthew Tkachuk doesn't score, even when Bobrovsky's not at his best, there's always somebody else there. There's another layer of depth to this team that when you add a Jones, you add a Marchand, and all of a sudden you're like, okay, well now my 7 defenseman who's not playing or my 13, 14 forwards who are not playing can still step in and maybe next game score. AJ Greer, fourth liner, who was a healthy scratch for the first 3 games of the playoffs, guys, scored a goal in that game against Carolina in the series opener. It's just incredible to see the depth of sort of contributions they've gotten from all over the lineup and how good Coach Paul Maurice has been at sort of pushing the buttons and figuring out who is best.
As you look at how these two teams match up in the Eastern Conference Finals, you have one style that's very different from the other. It feels like that the Panthers are an unbeatable, just kind of that's what it felt like. Everybody was saying, oh, Carolina's going to slow anybody down. Look what they did with the Capitals. And it's like, no, this Florida team's built a little bit differently, and I think that people saw that in the regular season. And it also helps to get to the point where you're playing some of your best hockey right now. I don't think anybody looked and went, yeah, Washington is peaking right now, but it feels like Florida somehow has gotten even better and is right now at their best hockey of the season.
Yeah, and really, you see this sometimes. The Golden State Warriors had done this for many years of sort of like, not, I don't want to say cruise control, because as athletes you can't quite do that, but sort of saving energy throughout the course of the season. And I think the Edmonton Oilers in the West have been a little bit of an example of that, and certainly the Panthers, that they didn't finish first in the division. They didn't even have home ice advantage in the first round of the playoffs. You're third in the division, but you're basically like, I don't care where I play or who I play, I'm going to win. And that's, I think, what the Panthers and the Oilers have certainly done so far in the playoffs is they've opened series on the road. They've won games. They've either fallen behind in series and then come back, or they've taken a lead in series and just sort of beaten the belief out of an opponent. And it's amazing that we're a game into this series and everyone's starting to see like just how big a chasm there is between the Panthers and the Hurricanes so far, because Carolina also had a little bit of that late in the season where the Hurricanes were locked into the spot they were in. It didn't matter what the results were at the end of the year, but it's hard to flip that switch to playoff time sometimes. The Panthers managed to do that right away and beat Tampa in 5 and go ahead and fall behind against Toronto 2-0 and come back and win that series in 7 and all of that. They're just so good at riding the wave of these things, because you think they're going to run out of gas at some point, and they still might, because they've played 300 games of hockey over the last 3 years, including regular season playoffs. But they've added those fresh guys in there. Nate Schmidt as a defenseman who's got a handful of goals in the playoffs as a new sort of face. Seth Jones and Brad Marchand had not played as many playoff games and sort of toll on the body over the last few years. So they've gotten the sort of reinforcements that think that they could get through and win the Cup again by mid to late June.
One more question on the Panthers, and I'm asking this from a Utah Mammoth perspective because the Mammoth have some cap space this summer. But if you're looking at the free agent market, there's a lot of good free agents on that Florida Panthers team, and I'm sure Utah probably has some interest in them. So there's a lot of teams around the league that are going to be watching that situation. How many of those guys do you think that Florida could realistically keep, and who are they going to prioritize?
Well, I think Aaron Ekblad is somebody who's probably going to go to free agency. I do think Sam Bennett will also be going to free agency. Given how good a fit that Brad Marchand has been so far for this team, I could easily see him saying, let me re-sign for a year or 2 or 3 years at sort of a cut rate deal to stick around, try to chase another championship, be part of that core. But the two biggies, I think, in terms of hitting the free agent market would be Sam Bennett and Aaron Ekblad. But I also, and I know you didn't ask about the Leafs and Mitch Marner, but I've been screaming to the rooftops the last few days that Utah should make a serious play for Mitch Marner. I think he'd be perfect in that market.
I think fans here would love it.
I will tell you, too. Mitch Marner's a name, obviously, that's that big name that people are looking at, and then you go, yeah, but you don't just take him. There's that part of being like the new franchise. You feel like you can't have nice things yet totally, but there's that part that you go, hey, look, you can put a deal together, and because you have the assets that you do, and because things have ended or may, if it is over for him there in Toronto, it's so awkward there right now that it's just like, look, he'll get a deal done as soon as he can if he feels like he needs to get out of there and he doesn't feel like he's accepted there in Toronto.
Yeah, and the thing is, and the sort of comparison I was used last year, Carolina Hurricanes traded for Jake Gensel at the trade deadline. He was a pending free agent. They knew they weren't going to be able to re-sign him. And all it cost Tampa to have the early sort of negotiating window and jump the line was a third-round pick, essentially the chance to have exclusive negotiating window. And then you can go ahead and sign Mitch Marner to a 7-year, whatever, $1 million contract. And I'm sure I'm not telling Chris and Bill Armstrong anything they haven't thought of before, but there's certainly that possibility that not having to give up a whole lot of assets could still wind up with Mitch Marner in Salt Lake City.
It's going to be interesting to watch who Utah chases with some of that cap space here in the offseason, or if they choose to just stick with the guys they currently have. Turning the page over to the Western Conference, man, I'm excited about this series. Stars-Oilers, this is going to be a lot of fun. We get to see Game 1 tonight. Just what are your thoughts on this series as we get things underway tonight?
Yeah, this is an exciting one because I think this is a coin flip series, and I think this is a one bounce, one goal, one save in a Game 6 or a Game 7 is how this series is going to come down to, and just you think of the star power here, and I know Matthew Tkachuk's in the East, but you've got Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, who may be the two best players on the planet, and then you've got a guy like Mikko Rantanen who's gotten traded twice in the last 5 months. and maybe the best player in this playoffs, and a great goaltender in Jake Ottinger for Dallas, probably a Norris caliber trophy defenseman in Miro Heiskanen back from injury for the Stars as well, that it just jumps off the charts in terms of the young talent Dallas has. Jason Robertson, Wyatt Johnson. You're going to see these guys at Olympics and whatever in the future here. And it's just, I can't wait for the hockey. I really like for someone who's going to be covering this series. There's a huge difference between flying to Edmonton and flying to Dallas from a selfish standpoint. But from a hockey standpoint, there's not a loser coming out of this. I think, and whoever wins this is going to give Florida a heck of a series, or Carolina if the Hurricanes can get their act together. But you have to think one of these teams is the powerhouse sort of favorite to win the Stanley Cup.
How is it that you have a team with all that talent on it like Edmonton? What is it that doesn't allow you to have a superstar, maybe the best player in the entire league, and then Draisaitl next to McDavid, and those guys still coming up short? How does the NHL work like that? What is the thing that you prioritize the most to be able to build an NHL championship and a Stanley Cup champion team?
It's such a hard balance because we've seen the Florida Panthers do it correctly, where they've got the goaltender who can do it. And it is such a sport predicated on goaltending that you can win with average goaltending. You can outscore your problems. And sometimes that's the difference. And even they got to Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final last year, and it was a pretty bad goal allowed in a 2-1 game by Stuart Skinner. That is the difference between, we're talking about the Oilers being defending Stanley Cup champions right now. And I think the Oilers have tried over the years to figure out how to find that player in net at the most important position in the sport. And Stuart Skinner has at times been good at it and times been bad. And he got benched early in the playoffs, and Calvin Pickard, this journeyman, comes in, plays pretty well, then he gets hurt, and all of a sudden it's Stuart Skinner's net again. And so there's no perfect way of doing it, but when you've got that level of talent at a hard salary cap sport, you can only fit so much around. So you can't be paying Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl $14 and $13 million each and have a $10 million goalie to fit in there. And it's the challenge of every free agent, of every front office in the league, of trying to figure out how do you balance out how you spend what's now an $87.5 million salary cap, soon going up $7 million, and trying to figure that out. But the Oilers have gotten this far with at least standard or maybe sometimes substandard goaltending because Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl put their Superman capes on and sort of carry them to this point.
Boy, the revenge tour for Mikko Rantanen has been something to watch. What a playoffs he's having. Is he your favorite for this Conn Smythe Award, or is there somebody else that's going to give him a run for this because he's been phenomenal?
He's it for me, and obviously whoever wins this series is going to have a pretty strong candidate between McDavid and Draisaitl and Mikko Rantanen. But the fact that this guy has come in and he struggled maybe at the start of that series against Colorado, facing his former team or one of his former teams, and the team that he won the Stanley Cup with in 2022, and just catching fire and him leading this sort of group of Finnish mafia of 4 other Finns on that team, and being sort of the guy that set the tone as the new guy, I've got a new contract, I'm going to prove this, has been remarkable to watch. And I was speaking with Ken Danico yesterday, 3-time Stanley Cup champion with the Devils, and he's like, somebody else needs to score on that team. It can't just be Mikko Rantanen, and he's right. But at this point, just watching Mikko Rantanen skate and play right now, it just gets your popcorn ready. Like every time he steps on the ice, it's like he's going to do something special.
A Finnish mafia sounds interesting. Am I supposed to be intimidated by a Finnish mafia?
I feel like it would be you'd be murdered very quietly
and politely.
We have one of the more recognizable Finns in the world, but playing for this basketball team here in Utah, and so. We get there's a personality trait. There's a reason that they're really, really good at sports. Like, even F1 drivers, you got to have a certain personality, and they've got it. It's just like this killer attitude. Stephen Whyno, he covers the NHL for the Associated Press. All right, so now that we are one game in on the Eastern Conference Finals, we haven't seen this one start up tonight. Handicap this Western Conference series for us, because I do get excited about watching Dallas take on this Edmonton Oilers team, but it feels like Dallas has an edge. It feels like they're the ones who are have been ramping themselves up for this portion of the playoffs. Give our listeners a little bit of an idea how the series could go.
Yeah, I think it's a long series, and Dallas having home ice advantage in the series is certainly a little bit of an edge. The Stars are undefeated at home in the playoffs dating to the first round, and just have been able to take advantage of that. Even when they've fallen behind in games, have come back and won. And Jake Ottinger in goal, I think last series allowed 2 goals total in the third period on the 40, 50 shots he faced. Just remarkable goaltending from him. I don't think there's any way this series is over in under 6 games. I just think there's so much talent and they're so evenly matched. You even look at the betting odds right now, and it's a really close. I think the Oilers are slightly favored in this series, but it's going to be a matter of last year. This is a rematch of the conference final last year, and Dallas went 0 for 14 on the power play in that series, and their goaltender Jake Ottinger wasn't as good as he has been in this playoff so far. And so if Dallas is special teams and able to take advantage of those sort of things, that may wind up being the difference between two teams that are very close. And with the Oilers, they've gotten to this point, amazingly, with some pretty good goaltending and defense at times, and also with a lot of guys contributing. I think 16 different guys have scored a goal for the Oilers this year, but it all comes down to 97 and 29. Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl are the guys who drive the bus for this team. If the Stars don't get the sort of secondary scoring that the Oilers have gotten in addition to their star players, that might be the difference between Edmonton going back to a final.
I'll take an Oilers-Panthers rematch. I think that'd be phenomenal. Before we cut you loose, I wanted to get your thoughts on the Utah Mammoth as they get ready for an offseason where they've got cap space. They got the number 4 overall pick. We just got word today that Dmitry Simashev is going to join the team next season, so that's a big add for them. What kind of splash can they have in the offseason, and do you expect them to be very active?
I do, and that's why I brought up Marner earlier. I really think somebody like that makes a lot of sense for this team. And there's nothing against Clayton Keller, who I think is going to be a U.S. Olympian next year and is a terrific player. But to get somebody else to be that sort of face of the franchise, sort of star player, to go with Clayton Keller, to go with Logan Cooley, Mikhail Sergachev, sort of this young core. You mentioned he's got these guys coming from the KHL. There's all this sort of infusion of young talent coming in. But after winning the draft lottery and being able to move up to that 4th spot, Bill Armstrong had told us, like, look, nobody's drafted more times, had more draft picks in the last 4 years than this organization. And so at some point, those prospects, the picks that are coming up, start becoming currency. And he did a little bit last year in getting Sergachev from the Lightning. I see a little bit more of that this summer. And maybe it's not necessarily the big free agent signing. Maybe it's not Marner. Maybe it's going out and getting somebody like an Elias Pettersson from Vancouver, who's under contract for a long period of time. Another big name who might be available sort of in trade talk sort of thing, where you say, okay, we're now the team looking to make that step. You've got Vejmelka signed as your goaltender. You have sort of the building blocks in place to be a playoff team. It's just, this is the summer now that I think, empowered by Ryan Smith and having the money to spend now, that Bill Armstrong can go into this offseason and say, yes, and maybe it's not just one big player, but you can get 2 or 3 players with a ton of salary cap space if Ryan Smith is willing to spend to that $95 million cap to be able to make a big difference. But I think it starts with trades leading up to the draft and at the draft at the end of June, and then into free agency on July 1st, that I expect 2 or 3 probably prominent players to be in Utah, because all the indications so far have been that players get treated really well by this organization. Everybody loves living there and working there, and it's got all the makings of a big summer for the Utah Mammoth.
Got us excited here
looking
in
at
Utah.
Stop. Hey, listen.
Fans listening right now are fired up.
Take it all back and just tell me. We have low sports self-esteem in this town sometimes, Steven. So when you go, oh, then we just think, oh, we can't have nice things. No, Mitch Marner would never get here. But I love hearing all that, the possibility of this team getting better. It's awesome. Steven Whyno, you can read his byline there. Associated Press, he covers the NHL. Thanks for being with us. And I'm praying for you to not have to make that trip between Edmonton and Florida, the entire Stanley Cup final. But if so be it, I know you'll do it because you're a pro.
It'll be fun hockey no matter what, and you guys should be excited about the summer for the Mammoth.
Oh, awesome. I love it. All right. Steven Whyno, everybody. We'll take the break here. Okay, so that's a good question. Who wears the C on the chest, though? Marner comes in and puts the captain C on the chest, right?
No.
No? You think Clayton Keller keeps
Clayton
that?
Keller, as long as he's here, has established himself as a captain. I don't think that should change just because you sign a big-name free agent. Unless that person earns it and the team is okay with that, right? I still think Clayton Keller's your leader. He's your captain. Been here the longest of the guys that are prominently featured on the team. That doesn't have to change. But you go out and if you have the resources and you're all in, look, the rebuild's over. Right? Do we agree with that?
Yeah.
The rebuild's over.
It's playoff time, man.
There's good enough players in this roster between the development of younger players combined with what they can go out there and get. They can be very, very competitive next year if they go all in. And let's hope they do. It'll be a lot of fun.
Crazy. Good stuff, though. And when national folks are looking at Utah and going, hey, now, hold on a minute.
Mm-hmm.
These guys could be – is this the – you know what? I've just decided Utah is the Colorado – Utah is to the NHL what Colorado football is. You know what that means? Bear is Coach Prime, all right? Just really putting himself out there, really getting aggressive out there. And you know what? And here's why.
That's a weird analogy.
We coming. All right? That's why.
That I get.
Could you imagine Bear going, hey, we will be coming to your house to murder you? He's like.
Speaking of a Finnish mafia.
He's Canadian. Come on. He's French-Canadian.
Yeah, there's a difference.
But he would use some of those Finnish guys probably.
Why not?
I get excited about it. Okay. NHL playoffs, of course, continue. You got Western Conference Finals starting up game 1 tonight. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We got more around the corner. I told you a little bit later I've got our top 10 for today. It's an interesting one. I think it's going to be difficult. I never know what to think now at this point. Some stuff that I think you'll never get all these. JJ surprises us. Others that I think are going to be easy. You have that mental stump in the old head, and you go, I stopped on that. I don't know what to do with it. So stay with us. We've got tons more to jump into, including when we come back. We'll get into the conversation about the MVP race. We'll get into the conversation about whether or not Nikola Jokic. It's a great question. CBS Sports asked it today. Is Nikola Jokic the greatest MVP runner-up of all time? I think that's somebody writing an article thinking that he should have been
I think
the MVP,
Michael Jordan would like to have a word.
Yeah. All right. We'll come back. We've got more to go. 97.5 KSL Sports Zone.
Accessing.
When TV and radio collide.
Love it.
This is what you get. You're listening to JJ and Alex. Presented by G2G Bars.
Don't touch that dial.
On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, everybody. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Tomorrow, as we do every Thursday, we roll out the winner of our weekly Hercules Hero of the Week award. The way that you do the Hercules Hero of the Week award is you nominate a person that is in your neighborhood or in your neck of the woods that does an awesome job as a youth sports volunteer. It's as simple as that. Somebody who does a above and beyond job. With the Hercules Hero of the Week award, we honor those volunteers. It could be a team mom, an assistant coach, a head coach of a team. We have many, many, many of those nominations that come in. Sometimes it's people who coach multiple teams across multiple sports. So we know those superhumans who are taking care of our kids and doing a great job, helping them learn the best parts of sports in their youth. You can submit that nomination, KSLSports.com/contest, and they win a prize from Beehive Meals and a prize from Hercules First Federal Credit Union. It is your Hercules Hero of the Week award. Did I get it all there?
You got it.
Right. SGA wins the NBA MVP, just like you had on the list of guys who you thought for sure 5 years ago, JJ, we knew he was going to be an MVP in the league. No, we didn't.
When was he selected in the draft?
Let me ask you this.
He was a throw-in in the Paul George trade.
Is him winning
probably too strong.
Is him winning the MVP, it still doesn't get anywhere close to the idea of Nikola Jokic being a 3-time MVP winner as the Taco Bell pick of the second round in the 40-something,
Not
what was
quite.
he, 47? So he's not there. What number was Giannis picked in the draft, too? Was he a second-round guy?
14? No, he was a first round.
But he was
in the
wasn't
same draft as Rudy
I
Gobert.
don't think he was a lottery guy, though, right? He was just outside that
late
lottery. Yeah. Either way, guys who you sign up to be MVPs in the league, you think to yourself, that's a number 1 overall pick, right?
15, there you
He was 15th. So I'm trying to think of all these. Now,
So he was not a lottery pick.
an interesting story that was up at CBSSports.com is Nikola Jokic the greatest MVP runner-up of all time? I think that's a little bit of a shot. That's like somebody saying, oh, I mean, that's the best second-place finish in the history of the Olympics, and all you're doing is talking about the second place. But the reality is that it's a subjective thing. When you have writers voting, it seems weird, doesn't it? Like to put it in the hands of writers sometimes is it seems trite. But Nikola Jokic had one of the greatest seasons in NBA history, and he's not the MVP. If this was going to be his first time winning it, would he have won it this year over SGA?
No, because I think SGA's team had the better season. And I think that mattered in this. It mattered a great deal. The Nuggets win 50 games? The Thunder won 68 games with that roster. And it's a good roster, but it's a young roster. It's a roster that I don't even know if they know how good they are. Maybe they do, and we're the ones that are finding out right now. But Shai had an incredible season. He had one of the best seasons by a guard that you've ever seen. So he deserves this. I know it's weird probably for people because it's new and because of what Jokic has done, and his numbers are crazy. They are insane. But Gilgeous-Alexander deserved this. He had a great season. He led the NBA with 32.7 points per game. The only other guards this century to score that much, James Harden, Kobe Bryant, Luka Doncic, and Allen Iverson. I mean, he's right there with some of the best ones.
Yeah.
51% from the field, 37.5% from three, almost 90% from the free throw line. 6.4 assists, 5 rebounds. It's really good. And you combine all that with the team's performance this year.
I get it.
Right?
But Jokic did average a triple-double for a massive dude who looks like he barely is interested in the game.
But where did that average triple-double get the Nuggets this year?
I get it. I mean, one game
They're
away
good.
from
They pushed
one
the
game
Thunder
away
to 7
from
games.
yes.
I'm not trying to
Here's
talk
the reality.
down
They may have
Jokic.
given a better series to the Thunder than we're going to see the Timberwolves give a series to the Thunder, right? Could very well see this thing being a 4-2, I hope not a 4-1 series, but I could see this being a 4-2 series easily. And the Nuggets took I know they lost by 32 or 37 or whatever in that last game, but they got to a game 7 with no head coach. In my mind, that's the thing where I go, no, that's the reason why the guy could be MVP. Now, the voting had already taken place, and they'd already done it. That's fine. I'm not saying look, SGA had a 68-win team. I don't know where that ranks in NBA history. It's got to be top 7, right? You've got like the Jazz who won. Were the Jazz a 70-game winner? No, they were a 60.
No, 64. I think in that last final season.
But you think of the short list of teams who've won that many games. The Bulls who went 72-10 and won the title. The Warriors who went 73-9 and didn't win the title.
So this year's Thunder. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's the 7th best team.
What did I say? 7. Top 7.
It's the 7th best. You were right. It's
That's
the
weird.
7th best regular season in NBA history. 68 wins. It ties with the 66-67 Philadelphia 76ers and the 1972-73 Boston Celtics for 68 wins.
Wow.
Only the Bulls, 69 wins in 97. Lakers in 72 with 69. Bulls in 96 with 72 wins, and the Warriors in 16 with 73 have been better seasons.
So in that stretch that Michael Jordan won the 6 titles, he had a 72-win team and a 69-win team.
And a 67-win team.
And a 67-win team. Not bad. Not bad. I'm just saying, all I'm doing is playing devil's advocate a little bit. Did SGA's season is one of the great seasons, not just. And here's the other thing, by the way, when you're in Oklahoma City, and I'd say the same thing about Milwaukee. I don't know. It feels interesting because Denver. I know it's a bigger market, but we look at Oklahoma City and go, you got to do 17% more. It feels like in that city, right?
Sometimes
to get
more attention.
And this is a team that.
And they did. 68 wins is that much.
And we didn't think that this team was ready yet, right?
Mm-mm.
We didn't think they were ready yet. But I think that once the finals get shaken out, let's say the Thunder go to the NBA Finals, they will be the favorites.
They'll win it.
And I think you'll actually see that they're going to be one of the more over. They're going to have one of the biggest. They'll be a bigger favorite than we've seen in a while in the NBA Finals, I think, if they're taking on the Pacers. And the New York Knicks, I don't think people look at them. These are 2 teams in the East that no one thought should have been there, right? And that'll shake out too because I just don't think that they're nearly the talent level. You can see an energy situation too, right, JJ? Like when you watch that Thunder team, and SGA obviously leads this up, they're at a different pace of everybody else. They're playing at an insane pace.
They play really well together, too.
I mean, like, you look at even like Alex Caruso was bothering the hell out of.
By the way, is that one of the best additions of the
oh my
NBA
gosh,
season?
very underrated.
Perfect fit.
But
he played for Dagnall with the Oklahoma City Blue or whatever it was in the G League.
Oh yeah.
They go way back.
And I'm telling you, he was the difference maker when they put him in on, and he's having to cover Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards had nothing last night against Alex Caruso's defense. So in this series, they go, you got one job, Caruso. When you come in, you put that headband right on the freaking hip of Anthony Edwards, and you stick to that guy. And he was absolutely lights out. And you know who actually played 100% better than Rudy did last night was Chet Holmgren. Chet Holmgren had like 11 points in the third quarter. He was a force in the middle. And he kind of stinks a little bit still. He's very young and raw still, right? I mean, like there's a lot of stuff that can be refined on that guy.
Yep.
And frankly,
this team's just getting started.
Right? That's
if you're a
scary
Utah
as
Jazz
heck,
fan,
man.
it makes you sick.
Very, very scary.
I have 2 facts I want to share.
I want to hear them.
Number 1, did you know who do you think drafted Shai Gilgeous-Alexander?
It was the Kings, wasn't it?
No, it was the Charlotte Hornets.
Oh, jeez.
Who then traded it to the Clippers. Number 11 pick in the 2018 NBA draft. So you go over the last few MVPs, and Joel Embiid in 2023 is the only top 5 lottery pick. In fact, he's the only lottery pick. Another interesting thing about the last 7 NBA MVP winners, none of them are American. When is the next time we're going to have an American win the MVP award? Could it reach 10 years?
Is SGA Canadian?
Can you imagine?
He's
He is Canadian. Can you imagine having a decade of NBA MVPs who are not American? They're international.
Drake is claiming SGA as his own, right?
Oh, 100%. Drake's going to wear a Thunder jersey to the finals,
100%.
right?
He'll probably be courtside.
Well, suddenly the Knicks are the favorite to win it all.
Oh, I know. If he starts throwing, the Thunder are like, nope, absolutely not. You cannot. You're not allowed to come here. You're not allowed to bet on this team. I'm so
Definitely
sorry.
not bet. No bets.
But your bets are the worst, and they're the kiss of death.
But who's the next American MVP we're going to see in the league? Who is it?
Anthony Edwards.
He would be the first that would come to mind that has a chance to do
right?
it. But between Shai, Nikola Jokic still having something in the tank.
I don't think people look at Jalen Brunson and say, "Well, that guy's the league MVP," right? He's at a tier below that, right? And does that mean?
It depends on a regular. If the Knicks had a regular season like the Thunder and Shai did this year, why not?
Is it enough to be like, oh, he's so clutch? Well, that means the next step is obviously he's MVP. Like, I don't know. I don't
doubt anything that Jalen Brunson does now. I'm never going to doubt him because he was a second-round pick.
Yeah.
And he goes to the Dallas Mavericks and blossoms into a star. And they're like, nah, you know what? You're not worth the money. He goes to New York. Now he's a superstar. Now the Knicks are revived. Like, Jalen Brunson is such a star.
Where's Cunningham from? Where's Cade Cunningham from?
He's an American.
Yeah. He's an Arlington, Texas kid. There you go.
There you go. So maybe he's the next American
Cade Cunningham
MVP.
he could be the next guy.
I just found it really fascinating that we've had 7 straight years of international MVP winners, and it could reach a full decade. I mean, between Shai and Nikola Jokic, any of those guys going to fall off next year?
And if Victor,
you could see a Giannis revival depending on where he goes. What if he gets traded to the Spurs?
Yeah, that's a great point. He goes to another team, he gets an absolute burst, and he's going to be. I mean, I would look at that and go,
yeah,
that could be your future MVP on whatever team he ends up.
Imagine him with the Spurs. Again, if you're a Jazz fan, it makes you sick, but the Spurs need to make that happen, or the Rockets. Man,
who else? I'm trying to think who else. Who's another? I don't know. Yeah,
it's not a long list of guys that can win, right? It's not a long list.
Tyrese is not there either.
No.
Alex makes a good point. What about Tyrese Halliburton? The answer is it's like almost like we're not allowed to even think about him yet as being that guy.
We talk about Shai and Nikola Jokic and maybe Giannis having a revival on another team with better supporting cast, but when is Luka going to start winning MVPs? So the international run could continue well past the decade mark, and that would be a really interesting story when it comes to the NBA and how the game has grown internationally.
Okay. Remember we were talking about the living list of the ranked players in the country here?
Yes.
So Tatum, does he have it?
After the Achilles, I don't know.
So in the top 5, there's only one American name there, and it's Jason Tatum. Steph is past his prime. LeBron is past his prime. Anthony Edwards is there. Is Donovan Mitchell on that list? He's in their top 10.
I can't see him getting to that MVP level.
You guys are, you know what? You guys are haters, both of you.
Oh, yeah.
You guys, before I even finished the type of head shake that Alex, our producer, was giving us was more like a disgust. Like, no, I'm not allowing that. I'm not allowing that. And then Jalen Brunson, he rounds out the top 10. So Brunson, Mitchell,
Anthony
Edwards, and Jason Tatum. That's your only.
I would throw Cade Cunningham in that list of
and
a
then
potential
Cade could
MVP
be there.
because he is rising quickly.
Yeah.
I put him on my at number 10 on my top 10 list of NBA players.
What about Evan Mobley? No.
Can't see a big winning it all.
Does Kawhi
Jokic.
still do the impossible and come back and win an MVP? Got to play in a certain amount of games, though, right?
Yeah, he's not going to be eligible.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a short list.
What did you call it before? You called it a short list, but I think before that it almost came out as a different list. Oof.
Oh.
Did I almost had to use a dump button on you there.
Did I make a mistake?
I think it was it was a Freudian slip is what it was. Wow, what a great list of American basketball players. It's the short list.
Short.
Excuse you?
Not something else.
All right, we'll come back. I've got a top 10 next. It is MVP related, so stay right here. More to go. 97.5 EKSL Sports Zone.
Ladies and gentlemen, the biggest name.
You're locked into JJ and Alex with the insight and analysis on the teams you can't live without. Presented by G2G Bars. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Oh, what you got playing here, Alex? Anything in particular?
Has something to do with what we're doing.
All right.
Raise up your goblet of rock.
That music has a purpose today. It is a Win Ticket Wednesday right here on the KSL Sports Zone. Calling number 12 right now. Breaking the law. Honestly, you know what's funny is like this brings back so many Beavis and Butthead. Think about when we would watch MTV.
Oh yeah.
On was it Saturday nights or it was Sunday nights? I'd watch 120 minutes, right?
Uh-huh.
You get which for those who are listening and for you, Alex, our producer, it was 120 minutes as a show where it was just pure alternative rock
music videos.
So the back
is alternative rock still a thing?
Oh no, because it's classic rock at this point.
Right.
And this is like this is a predecessor to that. But then you had original programming, like Beavis and Butthead.
Celebrity Deathmatch.
Celebrity Deathmatch.
There was some great stuff on MTV in the 90s.
Really weird
Incredible stuff.
Yeah. Well, if you want to harken back to those old times and even older, you can win tickets right now to Judas Priest and Alice Cooper coming to Utah First Credit Union Amphitheater on October 12th. Calling number 12 right now. That's all you have to do is just be calling number 12. 801-575-ZONE. That's 801-575-ZONE. 801-575-9663. Get yourself a pair of tickets to Judas Priest and Alice Cooper at 801-575-ZONE. All right. The top 10 game, JJ, goes like this. I give you a scenario. I give you a category. And I'll allow our producer, Alex, to also participate in this because I did not share anything about what this top 10 was going to be. It did take some extra homework. Now, it's a bit of a weird list, so listen up as I explain this. The way that this goes is I have picked out the top seasons by an MVP in the league, a top MVPs of the NBA. Sorry, excuse me. So top MVP seasons for an NBA MVP by points per game. So your points per game average, the best seasons by an MVP in NBA history. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So we're looking for here's what I've got though. I will tell you. I picked out 10, and it's the top 10 people, but there are multiple repeats in there. So I'm throwing out the second. I'm throwing out like the second reference to the other season that person may have had.
So be clear again. I'm looking for the top 10.
Yes. Points per game.
Points per game
for an MVP. But no repeats.
In a regular season?
In the regular season.
Okay.
Clear as mud?
Okay, let's go.
But you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay, like I said, it's hard to explain, but these are points per game in a season by MVPs.
No repeats.
So
I'm looking for 10 different players.
10 different players.
All right.
Let me see if I can. Let me make sure I bring it up here. Okay, here we are. And you ready for the timer, Alex, our producer? And go.
Wilt Chamberlain.
Ding.
Bill Russell. Steph Curry.
Ding.
Michael Jordan.
Ding.
Charles Barkley. Karl Malone. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Nikola Jokic. Giannis.
Hold on.
Steph Curry.
Ding.
Kobe. Shaq. More MVPs. More
You are
MVPs. Joel Embiid.
Hold on. Ding.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Steve Nash. No. Dirk Nowitzki. Who else would have been MVP recently that I'm missing? LeBron. Oh my gosh.
I know.
Bill Russell, I already guessed. 70s, 80s, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson. Who else won MVPs? 90s, 2000s. Allen Iverson.
Oh, ding.
I'm out of time.
Oh, there it is. So Allen Iverson snuck in at the very, very end of that one.
I got that one. I'm happy
I
got that one.
So here is your list. Number 1, Wilt Chamberlain.
Okay,
hard to beat the 37.6 that he averaged in his MVP season in 59-60. Michael Jordan was 2 at 35 in that 88 year. Remember that?
Yes.
Kareem.
Did I say Kareem?
You did not say
Oh my
Kareem
gosh, how did I
Abdul-Jabbar.
miss
I know, that's
Kareem?
why I was laughing about it. So Wilt Chamberlain, Michael Jordan, and Kareem, all the only ones with multiple appearances
I thought about
in
Kareem.
that
I
list.
just didn't say it out loud.
It's
Gosh,
weird.
Dang it.
So Wilt, MJ, Kareem. Kareem was 34.8. Yeah, this one was going to be a tough one. It was the 74-75 season. Bob McAdoo.
Bob McAdoo made the list.
Yes, he did.
Now, that's a deep pull.
34.5.
Who did Bob McAdoo play for?
The
Buffalo Braves.
Buffalo Braves.
How about
You got
that?
it. Yeah. Joel Embiid
I got him.
was number 5 technically on the list, even though he's not number 5 on the list because Wilt Chamberlain is actually number 1 and number 5. But
Right.
Joel Embiid had that 33.1 season that you got. KD, Kevin Durant,
Oh, yeah,
with 32
that's right.
points, his MVP season.
Okay.
Russell Westbrook sneaks on.
Oh, really?
On the year that he won the MVP, he was 31.6 points per game.
He had a crazy season.
Insane.
Average a triple-double.
Average a triple-double. Yeah, he was 31.6, 10.7, and 10.4.
Wow.
We don't like the guy, but you can't
That's incredible.
You can't deny that's not
No.
phenomenal. Oscar Robertson
Oh, the big O.
was number 8. Moses Malone was number 9.
Ooh, former Utah Stars player.
And then Allen Iverson was number 10.
Man.
Just outside the list, James Harden at 30.4. The lowest on the list was Allen Iverson at 31.1.
Crazy. You'd think Kobe and LeBron, I guess, would be on
Kobe
that
was,
list.
Kobe,
and
was,
they
Kobe
weren't.
was 25th on the list. LeBron 24th. Larry Bird 23rd.
Huh.
Bob Pettit had better years than they did. Giannis
Wow.
had his year was a 29.5, and that was good enough for 20th. Shaq in his year, 29.7. That was good enough for 19th. So LeBron's best year was 09-10, where he was 29.7.
That was a really fascinating top 10. I learned a lot.
Weird. Yeah, McAdoo at 4. I don't think
Bob
people would have had him.
McAdoo would have been a heck of a pull.
No. All right. We'll come back. We've got some stuff to talk about with our guy, Steven Sylvester. Sly's going to jump on. We're going to talk Tush Push. We're going to talk Mike Tomlin being on the hot seat. Ooh, a lot of awkward things that Sly is going to come after you with. So stay right here. More to go around the corner, 97.5 VKSL Sports Zone.
Your home for the best coverage of the Jazz, Utes, and Cougars is right here on The Zone. This is JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Alex, Kirry, Jeremiah Jensen. Of course, today we started the show off with the news that a civil lawsuit had been filed against Jake Retzlaff, the BYU quarterback, by an accuser in the 3rd District in Salt Lake City, who is named only in the lawsuit as Jane Doe, who accuses Jake Retzlaff in the civil lawsuit of sexual assault. Since we read those first pieces from that article, and you can go check out KSLSports.com and read Mitch Harper's write-up on this whole situation. Since then, you've now gotten a statement officially from the attorney of Jake Retzlaff, and then also from BYU, who is also made aware of this today. So, JJ, if you'll read off the BYU statement, we told people we wanted to keep them up to date on what was going on here. We knew that BYU would have likely had to have had some sort of a statement, and they did. And here's what they said. Give us what they said in their statement today, JJ.
Yes, here is BYU's statement that was issued Wednesday afternoon. We just received it. Quote, BYU became aware today that a civil lawsuit involving Jake Retzlaff had been filed this morning. The university takes any allegation very seriously, following all processes and guidelines mandated by Title IX. Due to federal and university privacy laws and practices for students, the university will not be able to provide additional comment. One of the most important things I pulled from that was from the first line that they learned about this morning.
Yeah. Well, I think part of that is just to say, hey.
They became aware today that a lawsuit had been filed this morning. So BYU, according to the statement, did not know about this until it was revealed today. Yeah. So they're probably processing this, and obviously they're going to have to go through their process. Yeah. I don't know everything that goes into that. There's obviously going to be, I know a lot of fans are listening, and we're trying to be careful because this is a legal issue. This is not a legal show.
Well, that's why BYU said the same thing. It's like, we can't comment about any of this stuff on top of the fact that
this is a very serious lawsuit. This is very serious allegations, and it's not really about football at this point with this situation. But also at the same time, we understand that the fan, you're listening, you're wondering, okay, well, what's going to happen now? I mean, is he not going to play this year? We have no idea what that process looks like or what that's going to be. I get and understand why everyone is asking that question, and BYU is going to have to make that decision about what that looks like moving forward.
Yeah.
And they're going to have to gather a lot of information before they make that decision. So not going to sit here and speculate on whether or not he's going to play this fall, but this is very serious, and we'll let the process play out once it gets to the legal process and in the court. But this is very very disturbing and concerning report. And I think we were all blindsided by this today.
Yep. We'll leave it at that for now, and as more details come out, we will bring those to you as well. In the meantime, our program brought to you by G2G Bars. All natural ingredients and no preservatives make the G2G Bar the perfect protein bar. Give it a shot today. Holiday Oil, Maverick, Associated Foods, and popping up at retailers all across the valley in the refrigerated section because they're fresh. There you go. Let's kick off the hours we always do with the cut. Let's jump in right here with our guy, Sly Sylvester. Let's do it.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
And, of course, this portion of the program brought to you by the good folks at Trajan Wealth, TRAJAN Wealth.com for all your trusted local needs in retirement. Give them a call today, TrajanWealth.com for all your retirement needs. Joining us on the program right now, he is Sly Sylvester. Sly on the program. Sly, earlier in the show, we rolled out Mike Tomlin on the hot seat in the head coaching profession. How on earth did we find ourselves in this spot?
Who's determining that he's on the hot seat?
One of these dumb idiot writers of one of these NFL stupid stories.
People want him on the hot seat, but that's not going to happen. You got to know the Roonies to be able to put somebody on the hot seat. It's crazy.
So how does somebody go on the hot seat in Pittsburgh after 18 seasons and more than 185 wins?
You don't, because one, the Roonies value more of your ethics than winning. Of course, they're a winning franchise, but they feel like it starts with who you are as a person. And the Roonies love who Mike Tomlin is as a person, and that's going to translate to winning, right? And so I think that is their mentality with getting a head coach, because it's like, who am I going to find to coach this team in the AFC North? Like, you're not going to find anybody. There's no equivalent. Not Nick Sirianni, who just won the Super Bowl, not Belichick, not anybody. There's nobody who's going to be able to fill those shoes, because you let Mike Tomlin go, and then it's all going to be like, well, Mike Tomlin wouldn't let that happen. Tomlin wouldn't have did this. It's hard to win. right? And so you can't just be like, oh, he hasn't won a Super Bowl, so get him out of here. The guy hasn't had a losing season. Still, every year when he gets close, we have the narrative where we're just like, oh, my gosh, he's so close, he's not going to have it. And then he still doesn't have it. So you can't hold anybody to that, man.
But hold on.
That's huge.
When Mason Rudolph is your starting quarterback, though, what's going to happen now?
I mean, is that his fault?
I think you make a great point with that. I'd fire the GM if I fired anybody.
Right?
Like you've known you knew last year you didn't have a quarterback.
Exactly. I mean,
how much time did you have to prepare for this?
Ever since Roethlisberger left, you knew you needed a quarterback. Kenny Pickett was not a situation. Okay, you bombed on that. You didn't get good trade value from it. Like you've known for the last 4 or 5 years you needed a quarterback. And so, I mean, hopefully this Will Howard from Ohio State comes up to be something. Oh, my
gosh.
But, hey, here's my
You just don't want to talk about the guy that is going to be signed to be the job.
Here's the thing.
You're avoiding something here.
I'm not gonna be and moan about what we don't have.
Thank you for your editing.
Right? What we don't have. We don't got Aaron Rodgers. We don't have Kirk Cousins. We don't have anything in the free agency. What we do have is what we're going into training camp with, and I'm telling you what, that's Mike Tomlin's philosophy. That's his mentality right there. I don't care about the fluff. Mason Rudolph, Duck Rogers, whoever the hell it is. They're going to do it. Like, he's like, I'm going with this. I know I got some dogs on defense, and if we got to be the highest scoring defense in NFL history, then that's what we're going to have to do to win. You know, if the other team doesn't score, you win because we got a dang good kicker. We got a dang good kicker, I tell you that much. So, I mean, there's just a mentality going into the season, and Mike Tomlin, he just doesn't take no crap, and that's what the Rooneys love.
Yeah, it is funny. We talk about it, and we're like, what an awful – the Steelers are struggling right now. It's like, they still went to the playoffs last year. Russell Wilson took this Steelers team to the playoffs with a 10-7 record during the regular season, and he actually outdueled from the yardage perspective Lamar Jackson in that playoff game. It wasn't close, by the way, but it was 28-0 before Pittsburgh, I think, even scored. But that is neither here nor there. All right, Sly, we just wanted to I know that was basically harassment. I apologize. We went right after you.
He was ready.
First of all, you can't harass Sly. I'm always ready.
I know. Okay, so as you start to look at this thing, first of all, how is it that the Eagles and the Tush Push situation, why is it that it's just the Eagles? Why is it that it's just the Eagles' special play? How is it that the Eagles are the only team that has seemed to have been the ones who've been able to cash in on this thing? And obviously, when it feels like it's this weird lopsided thing, every team could be able to do this thing. It's not a hard formula to follow. Why is it that the Eagles are the ones that are able to figure this thing out?
It's a technique, right? And that's what I feel. I'm on both sides of this, verdict on all of this stuff, right? Like, I can literally talk to you guys and say, you guys want me to go off for 30 minutes? This is like, so you talk about player safety, right? The player safety committee of the NFL voted against it to eradicate the Tush Push. And there's still votes that overwent that, and that just doesn't take precedence. What does that say about what they really care about, right? Like, it's about selling tickets at the end of the day. Don't give me this player safety. Oh, we've done this, we've done X to make sure that guys are safe. You don't care. You want to score more points. That's what it's all about. You want to get new fans and new countries all around the world.
You want sports talk radio shows talking about the Tush Push.
How do you get that? It's not by playing defense, right? You score points. Why would you stop the Tush Push? That's what the NFL owners are talking about, and I bet you what, that's what Goodell's talking about too. So, I mean, like, they don't really care. And believe me, I'm a former NFL player. You could talk to any local NFL players. They don't care about you. You're just a number. It's a meat market. You're just, and that's evident with everything that they do. But you got to read between the lines with how they're displaying things in the media. They're making themselves sound like they're actually, moral, and they don't care, right? And so This is more evident to that. But here's my thing is you take away the defense's ability to do that on field goals, to push people on field goals because we can't block kicks anymore. Why? Because it takes points off the board. But you allow the offense to do it, right? So all this is going to get to is defenses are going to start doing it. I know that's what I would be doing. Defenses are going to load up behind their defensive linemen and start pushing guys right into Jalen Hurts' lap, right? You're going to get Chris Jones and all these other linebackers bolting right behind him, and you're going to get 600-700 pounds pushing on Jason Kelsey's neck until he's paralyzed, until you guys wake up, right? That's the only thing that's going to change this. And so defense has got to wake up like, look, we got to do it too. The problem is like with rugby, I believe, and I haven't checked this for sure, maybe you guys can check me on it, but when they do the rugby scrum, they start, before they start pushing, there's contact already made, right? And so it's literally just pushing back and forth. As far as football goes, you have to make initial contact. You still got to watch the ball. You can't be in the neutral zone, and you still have to make contact with somebody. That's dangerous. And so, at the end of the day, the NFL doesn't care. They want to sell more tickets. So I always knew what the ruling was going to be, and I bet you anybody else knew what the ruling was going to be at the end of the day. The Philadelphia Eagles are selling tickets. They're worldwide. You're going to Brazil. You're going to England. You're going to London. You're playing all these games. Next thing you know, you're going to be in Beijing and Bangkok and playing football. And that's what the NFL wants. So why take points off the board? Why take the potential to get more fans into the NFL pocket by taking points off the board? It's just not. That's just not what the NFL does.
Turning our attention to college football, Vegas has spoken. They've released the over/under on wins this year for the Big 12. They have Utah at 7.5, which would be tied for. Well, it would be fifth. Well, kind of tied for fourth with BYU at 7.5. Over or under, do you think the Utes are at 7.5 wins?
Man, I know people can come at me for my biased opinion here. But, I've always said this. Ever since we started doing things in high school football and all this stuff, JJ, I've always said it's all about matchups.
Yeah.
Right? And how well do you match up? One, this defense – is top 15, top 20, hands down. At the end of the day, when you see statistics, people are going to be like, no. But I'm telling you, when this defense has a complementary offense, they are top 15, top 20, right? And the teams that we play this year are not top 15. There's not a team on this that I think will be ranked. Now with Retzlaff's news, I don't even think BYU will be ranked heading into the season. And so I don't see us losing less than 7 games, right? Like we mustered out 5 wins last year in an abysmal season. And now you got multiple quarterbacks to back it up that's valuable, that know the system, that you can put in place to do that, which that was our issue last year. We talked about it multiple times. Our issue was quarterback,
yep.
Right? Isaac Wilson was just too young, right? They did not do him right in that situation. Now you got Devin Dampier in a familiar system. Right now, you got athletic guys backing him up. Nate, why is his name eluding me right now? Nate Johnson. Yep. You have guys. You have contingency plans now, and I think that's great. Here's the thing. As we said 8 more points. We're a 10-2, 9-3 team last year, right? And so I think that we are that close to doing everything. And UCLA doesn't have it all together right now. I know that quarterback just transferred there, but I'm telling you, his teammates. Once this defense gets to him, I keep forgetting his name. Gets to him,
Nico.
Nico. UCLA teammates are going to be like, "Oh, you're trash, you money-hungry trash." But and it's going to be a terrible season for them. So they suck by scheduling Utah the first game of the year. That's what they shouldn't have did. But anyways, that's how that's going to be. Then we got Cal Poly, Wyoming. Texas Tech's going to be a tough game. In West Virginia, I know that's going to be a tough game. But we got Arizona State at home, a rivalry game that's 6s all the way across the board. You know how rivalry games go. I think we have the upper hand against Colorado. Cincinnati's not great. Baylor is Baylor. Kansas State and Kansas. I got to take over on that. I think at worst we'll have an 8-4 season.
What the heck does Baylor's Baylor mean?
Baylor's Baylor. Like they can,
they're better now than they were. They're way better now than they were at the beginning of last year.
Without RG3, what season have they had?
I mean, here's the thing though. They won 6 games in a row to finalize the season last year.
That's
they
great.
got way
That's
better.
Wonderful.
They got way better.
That's wonderful.
Okay.
But I don't see it.
Guess what Vegas has the Bears as? 7.5 wins.
Okay.
Over or under?
Hey, I don't know their schedule, so I can't tell you.
No, he's taking the under because he says Baylor's Baylor.
No, I mean, here's the thing. They went to a bowl game last year, right?
Yeah, they did.
And so they can do that. I just think that as far as Utah playing Baylor, that's the result for me. And so I don't know that yet, but we'll figure it out. I mean, they got Auburn. I'm looking at the schedule now. Auburn, SMU, Samford, Arizona State, Oklahoma State, TCU, Cincinnati, UCF, Utah. I say over. I give them the over.
All right,
but barely probably.
Well, yeah, I
would take TCU 6.5 wins of the bank if I'm in Vegas.
Okay.
That team's gonna win more than 6.5.
Y'all got some money left over? I gotta make some. No. We gotta take a trip, fellas.
No.
Will your wives allow this?
Probably not.
I'll go. I can go on the trip all day. What happens is I'm the worst gambler on the planet. The people are like, "Oh, you know so much about sports. You could take that to Vegas." I'm like, "You understand? I'm bad at this."
Here's the thing.
Go to the craps table, and I'm like, I'll take I can't do it.
Who's good?
Nah.
Like you can't have the mentality of being bad or good. You got to have the mentality of having fun, right? And I tell you what, Alex, I would have fun with you at the freaking craps table.
I know.
You'd be like, I can't believe I rolled another 9. What the heck?
You just said
Field.
Oh.
And so it's all about having fun, and I think we'd have fun, gents.
Let's do it.
You just said real quick because we're almost out of time here, but you said we'd have some fun and who would win. I'm curious now. Who do you think is going to win the Big 12? Because you're looking at it and there's not that dominant team that everyone's looking up to. It's pretty wide open. And I know you haven't dug into all the schedules, but you're going to get there. But just off the top of your head right now, way too early for you, as someone who covers Utah and follows Utah, who are you looking up to and thinking, man, that's the team we need to worry about?
I mean, how could we not, look away from Iowa State?
Right.
Iowa State, man, like, when you got your quarterback coming back, I know you lost your 2 receivers, but they're replaceable. What was so hard about Iowa State when they came here to Utah was that their multiple formations and how well they executed those were trouble, right? But you've seen how Iowa State finished the season and going against Florida. I know they didn't do great in the Big 12 championship, but I know they got some get back. I would say Iowa State would be my front runner right now. But man, I don't think there is a guy ahead of anybody else here. I think we have to see personnel and all the movement with transfer portal stuff and all the stuff. You never know who picked up a gem that nobody knows about, right?
Well, Texas Tech broke the bank going out and getting transfer portal guys.
Man, I mean, here's the thing.
That Tech-Utah game is going to be outstanding early in the season.
It's going to be great.
Is
I can't wait
Rice
for that.
Eccles too?
Yes, it is.
Oh, see, and then BYU's got to go to Lubbock. That's a tough one for them.
Brutal.
That's a great draw, at least if you're going to play one of the. What's crazy, Sly, is you say Iowa State, and there you could ask 5 people who cover the Big 12, and they'd have a different team for you, which is what happened last year.
It's all over the place.
Yeah. It's and I can't tell if that's good for the league or bad. I mean, to be honest, like
watch Oklahoma State win the whole thing next year.
Mike Gundy comes back and does it again.
Gosh.
Okay.
It'll be crazy. But great season ahead. We'll see.
Sly, thanks for hanging out, man. We appreciate it. Are you going to be here next week?
Hey, man, you let me know. It's me and you. JJ's just leaving us.
I guess. JJ's got other stuff going on. That's fine. Sly's going to come hang out with us next week, and we'll get some more. Never a bad time to have Sly on the program ever. So we appreciate you coming on the show today, and we'll chat with you again, man.
Of course, man. Talk to you fellas soon. Happy Memorial Day.
Hey, you too, Sly.
Enjoy the I'm sure you'll be doing some landscaping or something fun in the backyard.
He's got AstroTurf yard, though. Come on.
He's smarter than the rest of us.
The debacle of putting in the AstroTurf, too. I remember the drama of just like, they're supposed to come down and grade the yard.
Yep.
Everything is it can't just be straightforward with Sly. Everything's got to have a little bit of dramatics to it, a little bit of flair to it. Wouldn't have it any other way.
Nope.
Here's what we got. Got to take a break. When we come back, we've got some NFL stuff to jump into. We have some other. I've got tons of things to still roll your way. A best and worst at the top of the hour, or toward the top of the hour. So stay here. 97.5 VKSL Sports Zone.
All the latest news and notes from the league and the locals in the NFL. JJ and Alex bring you the NFL Blitz on 97.5 VKSL Sports Zone.
We've had a lot of NFL talk today, haven't we? We haven't even gotten to the Blitz yet.
In May, NFL talk, I'll take it.
Tis the season. Oh, look, when we had... Think about how weird of an offseason you're having. If you're Roger Goodell, you're like, thank heavens we're bickering over Tush Push.
Right.
It could be so much worse, right? And the NFL has dealt with worse.
No doubt.
They've survived a lot, but my heavens. Tush Push, yelling at one another, talking about that whole thing.
What
now,
could he do?
Did it have to be unanimous, or were they short votes?
No, they needed 24 votes.
And how many did they get?
22?
20. No, they got 20. They got 22, and they needed 24 to shoot it down.
Yep.
Oh, so it's like next round of voting where the Tush Push will go away, right? So this time next year, May 2026, we'll see you guys then, everybody, when the vote rehappens again. And by the way, the troll job that the Eagles did on the Packers, because the Packers are the team who officially put in the complaint, right?
Right, yes.
So they put the picture of them doing the Tush Push against the Packers.
So
I love it. Like, social media managers like, can I put this thing out there? And they're like, heck yeah, man.
Push on.
Let's troll those cheeseheads, dude. Why not?
Funny.
We don't even have a problem with those guys, but I will. If they want to fight, we'll do it. And they get the Tush Push for one more season. Here's my question. Would the Eagles have not made it as far as they did last year without the Tush Push? Is there a moment where you can look at it and go, you know what? They won because of the Tush Push. I will say in the NFC Championship game, it got weird. I will say here's when the Tush Push sucked. No one knew how to defend it, which is I think the real problem. You can do the whole safety thing all you want. There's no freaking way that's what people really care about. It's not very fun football. It's kind of boring.
It's not fun to watch. No one loves 1-yard touchdowns.
Right.
Especially that way. It's not great entertainment.
Do you remember when the Commanders, was it a linebacker or a defensive line? Is there a linebacker just kept jumping over the line and the referee had to break like a normal referee talk and go, hey, just as a reminder, you can get kicked out of the game for keeping jumping over the line. I'll have you know. I mean, that was the whole thing. They just kept jumping over the line to try to defend it. It was stupid. That's the part I don't like about the Tush Push. Did it save their season? I don't know. Is it part of their identity? Yeah, you bet. It's become something weird where everybody goes. And if it's not Jalen Hurts, your freaking Broncos tried to do it last year with Bo Nix. Sorry, man.
Apparently it's an art.
Let me tell you something about Jalen Hurts. That dude is massive. And isn't Jalen Hurts
It's not just the fact that he's massive and
doesn't
thick.
he squat like 700 pounds or something?
He is so strong, especially in his lower body, which makes it even more difficult to defend that play. I think if you have a long, lanky quarterback, it's not an easy play to execute. Bo Nix
comes in with his pale, skinny legs and goes, I'm going to run the Tush Push.
It's possible because Jalen Hurts is so friggin' strong below the waist.
Who gets behind him? Is it Dallas Goedert who gets behind him and pushes him too?
Yeah, I think they put a couple guys behind him to do that.
Yeah. I don't know if it makes the game worse or better or whatever. I just hate the idea that you can't stop it, so you try to kill it. The thing is that it just isn't a very fun
I don't like
play
to watch. I don't.
So
it's like, oh crap, here we go against stupid Tush Push touchdown. They're boring.
Yeah, and not just touchdown, like first down on a 3rd and 1, like that. Like it's not just the Tush Push into the end zone. They're doing it on 2nd and 1. They're doing it on 3rd and 1. They're doing it on 4th and 1. Right, and so anytime you have just like 1 yard to gain, they'll do that Tush Push. And if you didn't like Nick Sirianni's face last year, you're not going to like it this year when they keep calling the Tush Push. And he and his security team, rub it in your face. All right. JJ, next up on the old NFL Blitz. The Raiders offensive coordinator wants Ashton Jeanty to ditch the Michael Myers stance. define for me what the Michael Myers stance is. It's a guy standing in the backfield looking like he doesn't really know if he's in a football game or not, right? That's really what it is. He stands there and he looks disinterested. But that's part of the deception. I think that they want to. You remember back in the day,
he stood straight up with his hands at his side in the backfield before the snap.
He looked like he wasn't part of the play.
Like from Michael Myers from the Halloween movie.
I know. So it looks like a guy who is not interested in being there. And then that's when the ball gets snapped and he turns on killer mode, and that's also the Michael Myers reference, right? It looks like he's just standing there normally, but he will run you down and murder you. I'm all about it. Look, I get it in the NFL. There's going to have to be a different speed he's going to be playing at, okay? He's going to have to hit a different gear. But I think we all know that he might have it.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So, by the way, the 18-game season, too busy talking about the Tush Push. It didn't come up this year at the owners' meeting. I think that's a good thing. I love me some NFL. I don't want to make an 18th game in the season. I know we're probably inevitably on the way there because what does an 18th game mean, JJ? More competition, or what are we talking here?
More money for the NFL.
More money. More ratings.
More gate, more ads, more everything.
Yeah.
More. Gimme.
Settle down. You don't need it. Goodell, by the way, says a 16-game international schedule is going to be a reality. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Is there a version where an international team in London or in Germany or in Spain ends up working and is part of the AFC East featuring the London Jaguars? Is that going to ever be in our future?
Are the London Jaguars in the AFC South in 5 years? I hope not.
They'll still be the worst team in the AFC South.
It's just strange. Will it really truly get enough support overseas in some market that it needs? How frustrating or difficult is that for teams to travel there during the regular season? Yeah. How tough would it be on that team that's in London or wherever to make the long trip to, say, Seattle?
They'd have to stay. They'd have to play their home games.
What if they have two straight road games? One's in Seattle and one's in L.A.
No, they would. Well, that's what they'd have to do. They'd have to have a tour. You couldn't just go back to London and then come back and act like it's normal.
How easy is it to get from London to Green Bay, Wisconsin?
I think there's a direct flight every day. British Airways to where do you even fly in? Milwaukee, right?
Do you land on the lake? I don't know. Yeah, Milwaukee. I guess you could just fly into Midway in Chicago and drive.
Didn't we find out? Oh, yeah. No, that's what they're going to do.
Yeah, they're going to bust there.
Hey, guys, we're flying into
I'm going to save money.
We're going to save some money with the team bus. Is it the London Jaguars? Or do they have to change? Are they going to be they'd have to change their whole mascot.
Jaguars in London doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah. It'd be like the Jazz in Salt Lake. Doesn't make any sense, but maybe at some point it just catches on. No, they'd have to change the team name. Come on.
London Monarchs.
Oh, that's what they were before, right?
No. That was the World League of American Football team.
Yeah. What was Barcelona? The Dragons.
The Dragons.
Come on, man. See, and then you had the Berlin. I can't remember. Boy, the World League was so stupid.
NFL Europe or what? I mean, how many different names did it have?
There's World League. There's Europe. Yeah, I don't know. But I will say this. I would go to an NFL game at Wembley. Right?
Barcelona Dragons, Frankfurt Galaxy, London Monarchs. At one point, they had the Montreal Machine. They had a team in Canada.
Ugh. Montreal Machine. Get out of here. All right, well.
NFL Europe. Yeah, the Berlin Thunder. Amsterdam Admirals.
Oh, boy.
The Cologne Centurions.
Oh,
the Hamburg Sea Devils.
Come on.
The Rhine Fire. Remember the Rhine Fire?
The Rhine Fire, I remember.
And the Scottish Claymores.
Jeez. The Rhine Fire looked a little bit like the Utah Blaze.
Did you know the World League / NFL Europe lasted from 1995 to 2007?
That's a bit much. I bet that's the problem with having a bunch of money is you can have stupid experiments that last probably longer than they should, right?
It's crazy. It went 17 years. NFL Europe lasted 17 years.
By the way, I was just reading, too, they apparently, according to some sources, Jeffrey Lurie, who's the owner of the Philadelphia Eagles, apparently got into a yelling match with another owner about the Tush Push. This is a report. This is a literal report This came out. Debate over the Tush Push apparently led to a heated exchange between owners and league executives on Wednesday morning during the league meetings in Minnesota. Multiple sources with firsthand information told ESPN. Oh, I love it.
Interesting.
I love it. Listen, a bunch of billionaires getting into the room and yelling at the executives from the NFL and yelling at each
Talking
other.
under their breath.
No one ever challenges any of those guys except for these guys.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because in that room, you might have $4 billion, but
so does everybody else.
Well, I was going to say, who's the Home Depot guy?
Arthur Blank.
Arthur Blank shows up and
Count
goes,
Chocula.
ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, he pulls his Vincent Price impersonation.
Vincent Price owns the Atlanta Falcons.
The Tush Push will continue.
He sleeps while hanging upside down.
He definitely is not alive at this point, right?
No.
All right, we'll take the break here. We'll come back. I love the idea that there was a knockdown, drag-out, yelling fest.
I do too.
About
billionaires yelling at each other.
About men,
talking trash.
About grown men pushing each other into the end zone.
What a world.
Amazing.
Love the NFL.
Okay, we'll take the break here. We'll come back. We've got more around the corner. Stay here, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Wrapping up the hour with our picks for the best and worst moments on today's show. As JJ and Alex want to hear your best and worst of the day.
Oh, my goodness. All right. What a weird freaking day. What a weird day. All right. Let me see here. JJ, it's that time of the day for us to roll through our best and worst of the program. Our best and worst brought to you by the good folks at the Doug Smith family of dealerships. An incredible selection of Kia, Subaru, Chevy, Jeep, Dodge, or Ram. It is the Doug Smith family of dealerships in American Fork, Spanish Fork, and now in Linden. Nobody knows cars like Doug. Let me see here. Oh, did you see this? BYU baseball gets in the. First of all, they snuck into the Big 12 baseball
They were
tournament.
the last team in, number 12 seed.
They had to have it's the kind of thing where they're like, hey, look, we don't take all the teams into the Big 12 tournament, and Utah, UCF, and BYU, you guys got to battle this one out to even get there. BYU gets there, and then they do the impossible, which is. And I'm not just saying, look, upsetting somebody in baseball is one thing. Beating a team, the number 5 seed Arizona State Sun Devils is awesome. But let me tell you how big of a deal this is for BYU. They haven't won a conference tournament game, going back to 2017. That means in the last 8 years, BYU hadn't even won a conference tournament baseball game in the WCC. They finally, or in the Big 12, right? Because this was their second year participating in the Big 12 baseball side of things. They've never won a conference, or they haven't won a conference baseball game in the conference tournament since 2017 in the WCC or the Big 12. They get the upset over Arizona State. They're going to play Arizona tomorrow. Hit the old breaking news sounder. We got some NFL breaking news right now as it's happening. Speaking of ownership and speaking of the NFL, this one's a sad one, and this could qualify absolutely as our worst for the day. JJ, give us an idea here.
Yeah, Colts owner Jim Irsay has died. He was 65 years old. An announcement from the team explains that Irsay, quote, passed away peacefully in his sleep this afternoon. He assumed the day-to-day management of the team in 1995 from his father, Robert. So he's been the owner since 1997 when Robert died. So a long run. The Colts won a Super Bowl during his ownership. Obviously, he's had it's been a wild ride for him, a lot of ups and downs during his tenure. But big name in the NFL has passed away. Jim Irsay is dead at the age of 65.
65 years old. That's very young. This is a guy who has had multiple issues of alleged consumption problems from alcohol to drugs. And he's been accused of a lot. And it's been a tumultuous ride in the last 10 years for Jim Irsay as the owner of the Colts. Hard to ignore the fact that, do you remember? Yeah, it was in 2015, 2014. He was pulled over and then they found a bunch of prescription medications, OxyContin and hydrocodone in his system, and then like $40,000 in cash. I think this is a guy who's had a long history of some health issues on top of some of the addiction issues too, and so tough stuff. On top of it, he had health problems,
right?
In addition to,
but you look at what was accomplished during his tenure. They drafted Peyton Manning in '98, just a year after he assumed ownership. They won a lot of division titles. They were in a lot of AFC championship games. They've been one of the better teams in the AFC during that span from 1997 until now.
It's interesting because he owns the team.
Yep.
He's worth $5 billion, and I don't know where you go from here. Like, it's going to be interesting to see how the NFL treats this too, because if there's not a succession plan figured out, then I'm interested to see what the other ownership group or what the owners across the NFL and what the Irsay family and all of the things that go along with how you figure out what's going to go on, going forward with that team. But I mean, Jim Irsay, for all intents and purposes, that's the only guy I watched. I mean, I only knew him, as the owner of the Colts growing up. That's just part of what it was, Anyway, so there you go. He collected guitars. He had an awesome collection. Guitars from Elvis Presley, George Harrison, John Lennon, Paul McCartney, Kurt Cobain's.
Oh, he was 37 when he became their owner. That's pretty young.
I think there's a lot that he's had.
He was also their general manager from 1984 to 96. Interesting life.
Yeah, Jim Irsay passes away at 65 today, and the owners all met today, obviously in Eagan, Wisconsin, where they're having these owners meetings, and obviously Jim Irsay wasn't there, but we'll get more information on that. There you go. A very strange day just got even more strange, right? As we have these discussions, and the world of sports gets crazier every day, doesn't it? All right, JJ, looking forward to tonight. You've got the Western Conference Finals starting up.
TV viewing.
You've got in the NHL side of things. You have the Eastern Conference Finals. Give me your winners for tomorrow before we roll out here.
Stars take Game 1, and Knicks take Game 1.
I'm going to play devil's advocate. I will say Dallas wins Game 1 there at American Airlines Center tonight. I'm going to say that Tyrese Halliburton and the Pacers still figure this thing out. Oh yeah, look.
If they still won at MSG tonight.
Why wouldn't they?
You think they're going to 4-1 the Knicks?
Ooh, if they won tonight, I don't think they're going to go. I don't think they're going to 4-1 them, but I do think that.
Well, if you win Game 1 on the road, you've got a good shot, which is what they've done in the first two series.
They've had more time off to get right, get healthy, feel good, get to this spot. They go to Madison Square Garden. By the way, neither of these two teams people thought were going to be there. So the outcome of tonight's game, I think the Pacers are just on a weird heater right now. You know what I mean? And that's what you want to do in the playoffs. You want to get hot at the right time, and I think that's where the Pacers are right now. They're going to be tough to beat. All right, we will be back tomorrow. No, we'll be back next hour. Just stay right here, okay? More to go. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.